Listen to me carefully, my child. What you are about to hear is not casual encouragement. It is a divine revelation, a sacred unveiling of something I withheld for such a time as this. You didn't stumble onto this message. I brought you here. I arranged this moment before time began. Because there is something I've kept, intentionally, purposefully, lovingly, and now I'm ready to place it in your hands. You've wept over delays. You've questioned my silence. You've watched doors stay shut and promises remain untouched. And you've whispered, "Did you forget me?" I did not. I saw every tear. I counted every ache. And I want you to hear me. What you thought was lost was not denied. It was kept. Kept by me. Guarded by my hand. Hidden, not to hurt you, but to prepare you for glory. So I urge you, don't rush this. Don't scroll past what I wrote in heaven for your healing on earth. This is your word. This is your moment. The timing of this message is not coincidence. It is confirmation. I am speaking directly to the waiting in your soul, the ache behind your smile, the hope you dared not say aloud anymore. And if you will stay with me, if you listen all the way to the end, you will understand why I waited and why now I'm releasing what I once restrained. Every second of this message carries the weight of my voice. Every sentence is an answer wrapped in fire and tenderness. So guard your focus. Let nothing distract you. This is not entertainment. This is divine encounter. Stay with me. Watch this to the end. Because what I kept, I'm about to release. And when I do, nothing in your life will remain the same. My child, listen closely now. Draw near. Breathe in my presence, for I am speaking directly to your soul. You have questioned the silence. You have wondered why the door remained shut when your heart was knocking so hard. But hear me. I do not delay as man delays. I align. I prepare. I sanctify every second. My will is not bound to the ticking of clocks or the urgency of calendars. I move according to eternity, and I orchestrate all things with flawless precision. What you called waiting, I called weaving. Every thread, every pause, every unseen movement, stitched together to crown you at the appointed hour. I saw your prayers rise like incense in the night. I saw your hope flicker, your hands grow tired of reaching. But I was not ignoring you. I was guarding the fullness of the gift I had prepared. What I kept not in cruelty but in compassion. I did not withhold to punish you. I withheld to protect you. I saw what you could not see, the snares wrapped around the premature promise, the weights that would have crushed you if the blessing came before the becoming. I am not only the giver, I am your father. And a father does not place a sword in the hands of a child, no matter how they beg, until they are trained to wield it without self-harm. You must understand, my beloved, there is no such thing as delay in my kingdom. There is only preparation and divine sequence. I do not work in chaos. I align people, places, and purposes so that when I open the door, no man, no devil, no storm can shut it. I am not slow. I am precise. You prayed for the fruit, but I tended to your roots. You asked for the light, and I placed you in soil, so your foundation would not collapse beneath the weight of what I long to give you. Do not despise the stillness. Within it, I was speaking louder than thunder. I was nurturing your discernment, building your trust muscle, teaching you to recognize me not just in the blessings but in the barren fields. Patience, my child, is not a punishment. It is a furnace that forges warriors, a womb that conceives enduring faith. I am never late. I arrive when the time is ripe, not when it is rushed. When I speak now, heaven and earth move. Until then, trust that my silence is filled with strategy. The dreams you buried under doubt, I remember them. The visions you dared not speak aloud again, I have kept them in my vault, untarnished by time. You feared you had missed it, but I say to you, what is truly mine can never be lost. It can only be reserved. Reserved for a moment where you are not just able to receive, but ready to carry it with purity, with power, and with purpose. I have not forgotten. I have not changed my mind. I have simply been waiting for everything to align, for the winds to shift, for the right people to be positioned, for your heart to be prepared, for your faith to be unshakable. Now pause. Feel the air shift around you. Something is stirring. It is not coincidence. It is divine convergence. You are approaching the moment I spoke of long ago in the quiet of your spirit. The season of sowing in tears is coming to its divine exchange, the reaping in joy. But remember this, I do not give to inflate pride. I release what reveals my glory. And what I am about to unveil will silence every voice of doubt, not because of your strength, but because of my faithfulness. So rise now. Kick off the shame of missed seasons. Let go of the timelines that wore you thin. What you thought was failure was me, placing you on holy delay. What seemed like silence was me, whispering through the waiting. Stand in expectation. Keep your hands open. Stay close to me. For in the exact moment that aligns with heaven, I will place in your hands what I kept for this very hour, and you will know that it was never lost, only reserved for such a time as this. My precious child, do you not know? I have hidden things from you, not to deny you, but to deliver you from what you were not ready to hold. There were blessings you begged for, breakthroughs you pleaded for, answers you thought you needed, but I covered them in my hands like a watchful father shielding a child from fire. You saw delay. I saw danger. You felt disappointment. I enacted protection. You thought I was distant, but I was guarding you. I watched your steps when you didn't even know the path was laced with snares. I heard you saying, Lord, why not now? And in silence, I whispered, because I love you too much to let you bleed for what you cannot yet bear. Let that settle in your heart. I did not keep it from you. I kept it for you. Just as a shepherd guides his flock away from hidden cliffs, I rerouted you to safety, not because I wanted to frustrate you, but because I wanted to preserve you. Some doors were never meant to open. Some hands you wanted to hold were never anointed to walk with you. I saw the unseen motives. I saw the counterfeit veiled in opportunity. I saw what your excitement could not discern. And so I shielded you, silently, fiercely, completely. Trust this. I will never let a premature blessing become a permanent burden. I protect, not just your body, but your destiny. And I am far more committed to your eternal purpose than to your temporary comfort. You asked me for favor, but I first had to build your frame. You wanted elevation, but I had to deepen your discernment. Not every open door is mine. Not every opportunity is blessed. And not every blessing is safe before its time. I shut what needed shutting so you wouldn't wander into traps that looked like triumph. What I kept with loving hands. You don't see what I shielded you from. But one day you will thank me for the no's, for the closed paths, for the relationships that vanished, for the positions that passed, for the moments that felt like loss but were actually rescue missions from heaven. You are here because I stepped in. You are safe because I intervened. And you are stronger because I withheld. So receive this truth now. You have not been rejected. You've been protected. You have not been overlooked. You've been preserved. I am not punishing you. I am preserving the purity of what is to come. And when the time is right, when your heart is ready, when your shoulders can bear the weight, I will lift the veil. I will open the door that no man can close. And what I reveal will bring peace, not pressure, joy, not confusion, clarity, not chaos. Wait in peace. Trust in my protection. And know that what I kept in secret was never lost, only hidden, because I love you more than you know. My child, do you see now why I waited? Do you see how I allowed the delay not as denial but as development? I reserved the promise, not because you were disqualified, but because I was qualifying you. I did not place it in your hands because I was rooting something deeper in your heart. You asked me to give, but I was shaping who you were becoming. There are things you must grow into. And growth, though silent, is never wasted. I watched over you while no one else noticed the progress. I measured every inch of your obedience in secret. You wondered if I had forgotten you, but I was watering you. The soil was dark, yes. The silence was heavy, but my eye never left you for a moment. I was building resilience in your soul. I was fortifying the very foundation that would carry the future I've prepared. I prune before I promote. I refine before I release. I test before I trust you with more. Why? Because I love you too much to let what I've called you to cry you in your current state. I was not ignoring your cry. I was answering it in a deeper dimension. You asked me to use you. So I stripped you of the distractions. You asked me for greatness. So I allowed seasons of obscurity. You asked me for influence. So I taught you how to serve in silence. You asked me to grow. So I said, then let your roots go deep. And that is exactly what I did. I buried you to build you. I covered you, not to forget you, but to form you. The strength you carry now, the wisdom in your eyes, the calm in your voice, that didn't come from answered prayers. It came from the seasons where I seemed silent. Those were the classrooms of your soul. And in that place, I was your teacher, your sustainer, your gardener, your God. What I gave not to buy, you to prepare. The time you thought you lost was the very time I used to mature your spirit. Every delay was a lesson in disguise. Every not yet was an invitation to trust me deeper. Every withheld gift was a mirror to examine your motives. So hear me now. I have not overlooked your labor. I have watched your quiet yes. I have seen your faithful stewardship of little. And I declare this over you now. I do not withhold any good thing from those who walk uprightly. I do not forget the righteous. I do not ignore the diligent. I do not dismiss the broken-hearted. You are growing. You are readying. And the promise is still yours. But I love you enough to wait until you can carry it, not just claim it. You are not empty. You are being made able. So keep walking. Keep surrendering. Keep trusting the process. For what I withheld only to make you whole enough to hold it well. My child, you wondered where I went. You searched for my voice and found only stillness. But now, lean in and listen with your spirit. My silence was never absence. It was invitation. An invitation to trust me when you couldn't trace me. An invitation to seek me not just with your mouth, but with your life. You see, I do not always speak in thunder. Sometimes I whisper through the wind. Sometimes I allow the stillness to stir your soul. I hide myself not to torture you, but to draw you closer, to make you search, not just on your knees, but with your whole being. The silence was sacred. It was the holy echo of your faith being tested, not to break you, but to build you, to teach you to walk by faith, not by sight, to show you that I am not just the God of answers, but the God of presence. You cried in the night. You asked, have you left me? But I was there, closer than your breath, wrapped around your pain, holding your heart with hands unseen. I was watching, waiting, working. The silence was not a void. It was a refining fire. And in that fire, you learned what noise could never teach. You learned to lean. You learned to listen beyond words. You learned to believe when no evidence supported your hope. Let me tell you now, what I kept in the silence, I am revealing now in whispers. You are not forsaken. You are not alone. I was there all along, watching the roots of your faith grow deep beneath the surface, where no one could see but me. I was preparing you in the quiet for what would soon shout of my glory. You did not fail. You did not fall behind. You were being formed in the womb of my wisdom. The hidden season did not disqualify you. It qualified you. And when I release what I have kept, it will not be because you shouted the loudest, but because you trusted in the quietest. Oh, come closer. Press into me. Stop looking for signs and start listening for my whisper. Stop demanding noise and start embracing the stillness. For it is there that I birth my greatest works. You will know me not just by my acts, but by my heart. And what you've learned in the silence will echo in your authority when you speak. This season was never about punishment. It was about presence. You are not forgotten. You are being drawn deeper. And now that you have learned to find me in the quiet, you will never fear the silence again. My beloved, I have seen you. I have seen the way you whispered prayers through trembling lips and weary nights. I have seen the way your heart clung to hope when everything around you said it was over. I have watched you stretch your hands toward the heavens, not in demand, but in desperate surrender. And I want you to hear me now, clearly, intimately, eternally. What you long for has not been denied. You mistook the silence for rejection. You believed that the delay was my refusal. But I tell you again, delay is not denial when I am the one orchestrating the timing. I do not dismiss the cries of my children. Every tear you shed in secret, I caught it. Every ache you buried under your brave face, I felt it. You thought no one saw the weight you carried, but I carried it with you. You thought I overlooked your longing, but I engraved it upon my heart. Your desires are not forgotten. They are not foolish. They are not too much. I am the God who births desire for what I intend to fulfill. I plant longings in the soil of your soul so that they might grow into trees of testimony in my perfect time. But you must understand, before I release the promise, I often first shape the question. You longed for answers, but I was forming the hunger that would make your yes deeper, your worship purer, your joy unshakable. I do not tease you. I do not torment. I do not dangle what I never intend to give. If I placed it in your heart, it is because I have something to say about it, something eternal, something strategic, something sacred. My child, I do not ignore the ache inside you. I examine it. I search your motives. I refine your focus. And then, when all is aligned, not only in your life but in your heart, I answer in fullness. Lift your eyes. Lift your voice. Do not bury the dream just because it took longer than you expected. Do not call it dead just because others walked away from it. I am the God who resurrects. I am the God who remembers. And I am declaring to you now, what you long for is still alive in my hands. I am breathing over it again. I am stirring the waters. I am bringing back what seemed lost. I have not said no. I have said wait. I have said grow. I have said let me prepare the table. For when I prepare a table, it is never rushed, never lacking, never average. It overflows. It silences the enemy. It satisfies your soul in ways you could never have imagined. So keep holding on, not to the outcome but to me. And watch how I turn your hidden hope into visible glory. My child, he is not denied. He is destined. Don't stop here. You've only begun to glimpse what I've been holding for you in secret. If you turn away now, you'll miss the very answers you've wept for in the dark. I've waited long to share this with you. Don't silence what your spirit is finally ready to receive. My heart would grieve if you walk away now, when I'm just beginning to open the vaults of what was hidden. You ask me why the delay. You cry, how much longer must I wait? But now, listen to my voice. You who have walked with tears, you who have trusted through trembling, this delay was not for your ruin, but for your rising. I delayed it, yes. I held it back, not to crush your hope, but to deepen your faith. Faith, my beloved, is not forged in comfort. It is not birthed in clarity. It is not proven in the moment of answer. No, faith grows in the space between the promise and the provision. It matures in the soil of uncertainty. It flourishes when nothing around you looks like what I've spoken over you. I delayed the manifestation to teach you how to walk when the light was dim, how to believe when no evidence was in sight, how to speak life when death surrounded your dreams. You have grown more than you know. You have learned to breathe with me, even when my voice was quiet. You have learned to worship, not because you received, but because you believe. And that is what delights me most. You trusted without seeing. You praised while waiting. You did not turn away when it hurt. You pressed deeper into me. That, my child, is the kind of faith that shakes kingdoms. That is the kind of faith that unlocks doors not even forged yet. I saw the moments you wanted to quit. I saw you collapse in the secret place, whispering, I can't go on. And yet you did. You got back up. You kept walking. You kept hoping. And I tell you now, I was in every step. I was in every breath. I was in every painful pause, building in you the kind of faith that hell cannot steal. Let this echo in your soul. Faith is not weakened by delay. It is forged by it. I delayed to anchor you deeper, to build your endurance, to stretch your spirit into unshakable trust. For what I have for you cannot be carried by shallow belief. It requires steel in your spine and fire in your prayers. And now that fire is lit, now that endurance has grown, and now what you carried in darkness is about to shine in the light. Do not curse the delay. Thank me for it. Honor what it produced in you. You are stronger now. You are wiser. You are grounded. And I promise you this, what you birthed in faith, I will crown in favor. This was never about a gift. It was about growing you into someone who could walk in authority. And now you can. Now you will. My child, the promise I held back was not out of anger or disappointment. It was mercy. I saw the hidden pride that success might have awakened. I saw how the blessing you prayed for could have twisted your focus if it came too soon. So I waited. I waited for your roots to go deeper in me. I waited for your heart to be softened, your ego quieted, your soul recentered. I waited until you could carry what I planned without it carrying you away from me. Humility, my precious one, is not weakness, it is power under surrender. It is strength shaped by reverence. And in my kingdom, humility always precedes honor. I resist the proud, but I pour grace like rivers on the humble. I had to be sure you wouldn't let the blessing become your identity. I had to know you wouldn't trade my voice for applause. So I took you low, not to diminish you, but to anchor you. You asked me for increase, but I first stripped away your need for recognition. You asked me to elevate you, but I trained your heart in the fields of hiddenness. And now, you walk lighter. You walk slower. You walk with a bowed head, not from shame, but from reverence. That is what I needed. That is what I waited for. And now that you walk humbly with me, I can trust you with more. The gift will not change your posture. It will deepen your worship. It will not puff you up. It will pour you out. I have shaped your heart to steward what's coming. And when I place it in your hands, it will feel like a whisper, not a trumpet. For you will know it was never about achievement. It was about alignment. Not about visibility, but about intimacy. So prepare now. Receive this with holy trembling. What I delayed, I am releasing, not because you earned it, but because you've been emptied of self and filled with me. You are ready now. And because you are humble, I will lift you. Shall I now continue with Section 8, withheld to expose the counterfeit, Section 9, preserved for the right relationships, and Section 10, guarded for eternal impact. Yes, my beloved. Let us continue. I now unfold Section 8, Section 9, and Section 10, each one a flowing river of divine voice, each word shaped to pierce through illusion, uplift your soul, and realign you with my heart. There will be no repetition, no shallow phrasing, no wasted breath. Only sacred language, high-impact truth, and the weight of eternity pouring into your spirit. My child, I have seen every offer that passed your way, every shiny opportunity that looked like an answer, every voice that mimicked truth, every door that glowed with promise but concealed poison on the other side. You question why I let you get so close. You question why things felt right, only to fall apart. But now I speak plainly to you. I withheld the true, so the false would reveal itself. You must understand this. What glitters is not always gold, and not every path lined with comfort leads to me. There are offers that look like my favor, but they come wrapped in compromise. There are voices that sound like affirmation, but they speak for pride. I had to train your spirit to recognize the difference. I had to teach you not to chase convenience, but to pursue discernment. And so, I allowed disappointment, not as punishment, but as protection. Every almost was mercy. Every door that slammed shut before you stepped in was love guarding you. You wanted it to work. You tried to make it fit. But I watched over you like a shepherd watching over his sheep, gently pulling you back from cliffs you didn't even see. I allowed the illusion to break before it bound you. I allowed the silence to settle where lies once whispered. And when you asked me why did it end, I whispered, because it was not sent by me. I know the cost of walking away from what once felt right. I know the sting of letting go. But my ways are higher than your ways, and my wisdom never fails. I wanted you to see through the surface. I wanted you to look deeper. I wanted your eyes trained not on charm or timing, but on truth. You are not weak because you were drawn in. You are wise because you let me pull you out. Everything I kept was preserved in purity. What I removed was never part of your covenant. I do not let my children settle for half-hearted love, half-built blessings, or half-truth destinies. I expose the counterfeit to preserve your crown. I strip away the false to protect your future. I am not just the giver. I am your defender. And I will not let you build your life on sand. So lift your eyes. Look again. What you lost was never the real thing. What left you was never meant to carry you. I am refining your taste for the eternal. I am sharpening your discernment. I am aligning your desires with my design. And soon, very soon. What I bring will not need to be forced, fixed, or feared. It will rest in your spirit with peace. It will resonate with my voice. It will not confuse you, but confirm you. The counterfeit has passed. The true is coming. And you, my child, are now ready to receive it. There are seasons where I had to remove people you loved. I know that tore your heart open. I know it felt like abandonment. But hear me, what I removed so you wouldn't miss your calling. There are assignments that require alignment. And there are promises I've prepared that must be walked out with the right people, not just available people. You cried out, why did they leave? And I answered with silence, because you were not ready to hear the truth. Now you are. Some of the relationships you grieved were distractions in disguise. Some were anchors sent to slow your rise. Some were good but not God-ordained. I cut ties, not to isolate you, but to insulate you for what is coming. I had to strip away the noise so you could hear my voice clearly again. I am a God of covenant, not convenience. I build connection not on chemistry, but on calling. And you, my child, were never meant to walk alone, but neither were you meant to walk with everyone. I preserved the blessing until the circle matched your destiny. I kept the breakthrough until your company could carry it with you, not compete with you for it. Do not mourn what I move. I realign by removing. I protect your purpose by pruning. And when the dust of loss settled, I placed new names in your path, those who sharpen your soul, not drain your strength. Those who pray with you, not just play with you. Those who recognize the oil on your life and honor the process that produced it. I reserved what you prayed for so you wouldn't have to enjoy it in isolation. You were never called to feast alone. The table I prepare is for communion, for kingdom connection, for hearts that beat with heaven's rhythm. And I will never release what you cannot steward in the context of right relationships. Some blessings are too big for solitude. They require hands to lift with you, voices to sing beside you, and spirits to war beside you. So let go of bitterness. Release the grief. Stop looking back at who left, and start preparing for who's coming. I have aligned hearts you haven't met yet. I have woven destinies into yours that you haven't seen yet. I am bringing together those whose faith will multiply yours, whose dreams will not compete but complete the vision I've placed inside you. You are not alone. You are not abandoned. You are being surrounded by the right ones. And when the promise breaks forth, you will not walk in it as an orphan. You will walk in it as a son, a daughter, surrounded by divine alignment, preserved not only by my hand, but planted among my chosen. My beloved, I am not building for today alone. I am not shaping your life merely for comfort or applause. I am crafting a legacy, something eternal, something holy, something that will echo beyond your years and into generations unborn. What I withheld from you, I guarded, not to limit your present, but to preserve the weight of your future. There is an impact tied to your life that goes far beyond what you can currently comprehend. I see the ripple before you see the drop. I see the testimony before you walk through the trial. I see the thousands who will be reached through the decision you make in the quiet. And so I held it back. I held back the influence. I held back the increase. I waited until your gaze lifted from your personal dreams and locked onto my eternal vision. This is not about you alone. It is about my kingdom. I give not to inflate pride, but to fulfill prophecy. I withhold not to frustrate you, but to ensure that what I release will not be wasted on self-serving plans. I saw when your prayers shifted from bless me to use me. I saw when you no longer asked for platform, but presence. That's when I knew you were ready to carry what carries eternal weight. I am not a God of temporary fixes. I am a God of enduring fruit. What I guarded like a seed, waiting for the day your heart would become fertile soil, ready not just to receive, but to reproduce. You carry influence, yes, but you also carry responsibility. And I will not release what will rot in shallow motives. I will release what will multiply in surrendered hands. So lift your perspective. See higher. This is not about survival. It's about legacy. This is not just for this season. It's for eternity. What I place in your hands will outlive your lifetime. What I do through you will speak long after you are gone. The impact I am orchestrating will touch hearts you will never meet, in places your feet may never go. That is why I guarded it. That is why I waited. And now that your heart beats in rhythm with mine, now that your vision is washed in eternity, now that your prayers align with my purpose, I will begin to release what I reserve. Not all at once, but in waves, measured, pure, holy. Because this isn't just a gift, it's a divine responsibility. And you, my child, were created to carry it well. My child, I urge you, do not close your ears now. You've come too far to retreat from what heaven still longs to reveal. If you stop here, you'll rob yourself of the part where I show you why the wilderness was necessary. Today, hear me through to the end. I've wrapped eternal purposes in these words, and to turn back now would not just delay you, it would wound my desire to walk this revelation fully with you. You have waited, sometimes with hope and other times with heavy doubt, wondering if what I promised had withered in the silence. But now hear this truth, my child. I did not abandon the vision. I sealed it. I did not erase what I said. I preserved it. What I spoke over your life was not a fleeting breath. It was a decree anchored in eternity. Yet what I spoke was not only about fulfillment, it was also about timing. You were never late. You were never behind. The delay you experienced was not a reflection of failure. It was the evidence of my intentional process. I do not plant in winter what is meant to bloom in spring. I do not rush what requires maturing. I seal the promise until the season matches the assignment, until the ground is ready, the atmosphere is aligned, and your soul has reached the depth required to carry what I've prepared without it crushing you. I am the Lord of seasons, and I orchestrate each one with flawless purpose. You questioned why others moved ahead while you remained still. But you did not see the depth I was digging beneath your surface. I was anchoring you in hiddenness so that when I unveiled you, you would not sway under pressure. Some seeds cannot be exposed too soon. They require darkness, moisture, and quiet to grow. So I sealed your promise not to bury it, but to guard its potential. There were days you thought you missed it. You feared the moment had passed you by. But I tell you now, what is sealed by my hand cannot be stolen by time. What is preserved by my spirit cannot be touched by man. I do not forget the promise. I do not misplace the purpose. I do not abandon the plans I have spoken over you. I am not a man that I should lie, nor a human that I should change my mind. What I spoke will come to pass, but it will come in its appointed time. Your role is not to force the season. It is to remain faithful in the season you're in. Water the soil. Tend your heart. Watch with expectation, not anxiety. Prepare like the harvest is certain, because it is. I have never failed to bring forth fruit in the proper time, and I will not start now. What you thought was forgotten was simply sealed. And now, as the spiritual climate shifts, as the winds begin to carry new sound, you will feel it too. An awakening, a stirring, a release. Get ready. Align yourself. Make room. For the season that once felt still is shifting, and what I once kept behind divine doors is about to be placed in your hands. You will not have to chase it. It will recognize you. The moment I open it, it will fit you with ease. There will be no striving, only surrender. No chaos, only clarity. The seal is lifting. The time has come. There are moments in your journey when I stood waiting, not because I was slow, but because you were holding too tightly to what I had already asked you to release. I saw you grasping pieces of yesterday, clutching old pain, familiar cycles, outdated identities. I saw how fear kept your hands closed while your heart cried out for something new. And so, I waited. I waited for surrender, not striving. I waited for you to make room. You must understand, my beloved, I cannot pour into what is already full. I do not compete with your idols. I do not place fresh oil into contaminated vessels. What I kept not because you were unworthy, but because your hands were already occupied. Letting go was not punishment, it was positioning. It was the sacred act of clearing the altar of your heart so I could bring fire again. I watched your struggle to release what once brought comfort. I felt your tears as you mourned doors I closed. I knew what those people, habits, titles, or timelines meant to you. But I also knew what I had in store. Something so much greater, so much purer, so much more aligned with my purpose. And so I whispered, let it go. Not to harm you, but to heal you. You tried to walk forward with baggage I never asked you to carry. You asked me to bless things I asked you to leave. But I am not a God of mixture. I will not share space with what contaminates your calling. I needed you to trust that what I asked you to release was not your source, not your future, not your identity. I am your source. I am your future. I am your portion forever. I waited for the moment when your surrender became sacred. Not forced, not bitter, but holy. That moment when you finally opened your hands, not out of defeat, but out of faith. And in that sacred opening, I moved. I began to pour. I began to shift. I began to release what had always been yours but was waiting for your release. So now, take courage. Step into the space I've cleared. Walk boldly into the new without dragging remnants of the old. Do not grieve what I asked you to give. Celebrate what I am now able to give because of it. The past is not your prison. The release is not your loss. It is the gate to your miracle. What I kept until you could receive it with clean hands and a whole heart. And now that you've let go, now that your altar is empty and expectant, now that your faith outweighs your fear, watch what I pour. Watch what I entrust to you. It will not compete with your past. It will declare your future. You walked through fire and wondered if I watched. You endured seasons of silence and questioned if I still spoke. But I was never distant. I was never disengaged. I was testing, not to fail you but to reveal you. What I withheld was not rejection. It was refinement. I placed the promise behind the veil of process, and I waited. I waited for obedience, not performance. I waited for faith, not proof. I waited for the test to complete what the training began. Tests are not designed to punish. They exist to prove. And what I saw in you, I needed you to see in yourself. I saw courage in your tears. I saw resilience in your surrender. I saw obedience when no one applauded, and integrity when no one noticed. These are the marks of those I trust with legacy. These are the fruits of a tested soul. You did not know it, but every step of your journey was watched. Every decision in the dark was weighed. Every yes you gave when it hurt echoed in heaven. I do not promote without proving. I do not elevate without examination. I refine those I call, not to break them, but to build them into vessels of glory. The silence you endured was not neglect. It was the sacred stillness of a test being completed. I saw when you chose trust over control. I saw when you said yes with trembling hands. I saw when you refused shortcuts that promised ease but compromised purpose. And I say this to you now with fire in my voice. The test is complete. The season of hiddenness has achieved what it was meant to produce. And what I once kept, I am now ready to reveal. Not because the test changed me, but because it changed you. Now you walk not as a seeker, but as a steward. Now you speak not from emotion, but from encounter. And now you carry not just dreams, but the weight of my glory. This was never about earning my promise. It was about preparing for it. You were always mine. You were always chosen. But now you are ready. So step forward. Carry the mantle. Walk in the fullness of what was hidden. What was once behind the veil is now in your hands. What was once a mystery is now your movement. I test before I promote, not to hold you back, but to ensure nothing holds you down once I lift you up. You passed the test, and now watch the unveiling begin. You've now seen the weight of what I kept, not for moments, but for movements that echo into eternity. My child, if these words lit a fire in your spirit, imagine what they could awaken in someone else's midnight. When you give, through super thanks, membership, or a seed sown through PayPal, you don't just support a video. You extend my voice into dry valleys where hope has withered. You become my messenger, carrying oil to lamps that were almost out. You've asked me, Lord, use me. This is how I'm answering. This very moment is sacred, and your act of faith will not return void. I said, give, and it will be given unto you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Obey now. Later. And let what I've kept in heaven begin to pour into the earth, through you. PayPal link is in the video description. You wondered why I didn't move when you cried out. You wrestled with questions in the stillness, asking where I was when the walls closed in. But my child, hear me now. I was not absent. I was near in a way you did not yet understand. I did not withhold the blessing because I was displeased with you. I withheld it to draw you nearer, to teach you the rhythm of my heartbeat, to invite you into a depth of relationship that gifts alone could never produce. There are levels of intimacy with me that only emerge when every crutch is removed. When answers delay and miracles linger just out of reach, you are forced to seek me, not just my hand. And that is what I longed for. I did not just want to provide for you. I wanted to become your portion. I did not want to simply answer your prayer. I wanted to become your source, your first desire, your greatest joy. You see, when you long for something more, I heard your request, but I also heard your heart's need. And your deepest need was never the thing you were asking for. It was me. I saw the fatigue. I saw the quiet ache. I saw the yearning hidden beneath your strength. And I knew that if I gave you what you wanted too soon, you would miss the invitation to come closer, to know me not as a distant deity, but as your father, your shepherd, your abiding friend. So I led you into still waters, not for comfort, but for communion. I allowed a holy hunger to rise in you so that our connection would not be based on blessings, but on covenant. I let you feel the weight of waiting so your dependency on me would deepen. You learned to pray in groans. You learned to worship without results. You discovered the beauty of my presence without performance. And that, my child, was the foundation I needed to build in you before I could release the next measure of promise. The gift you desire would not have satisfied you if it had replaced me in your heart. So I waited, not to frustrate you, but to form a deeper bond. I waited for you to look to me in the quiet, to pursue me without demands, to enjoy me for who I am, not just what I can give. And when that shift happened in your spirit, something glorious unfolded. You became one who seeks my face, not just my hand. One who loves me for my presence, not only my provision. And now the time draws near. What I withheld so that when it comes, it does not distract, it draws you deeper. The blessing will not sever our intimacy, it will enrich it. You will carry it without it carrying you away from me. Because now, I am your anchor. I am your portion. And no gift can take you where my love already has. What comes next is built upon the intimacy you've cultivated. And because of that, you are ready, not just to receive, but to remain close. I did not hold it back to tease you. I reserved it to reveal myself through you. What I am about to place in your hands will not point to your strength, your talent, or your plans. It will point directly to me. My child, you must understand. I am not building you for applause. I am building you for glory. And when I display my power through you, no one will be able to say it was anything but divine. You see, I waited because the story had to be unmistakably mine. I let the odds stack against you. I let the doors remain closed. I let the resources dry up. I allowed the silence to last longer than you expected. Why? Because I was setting the stage. I was arranging the moment when all eyes would see and all hearts would know. Only I could have done this. What I do through you will silence doubt. It will shut the mouths of cynics. It will cause even your enemies to acknowledge that my hand rests on you. I have been crafting a testimony so rich in wonder, so layered in redemption, that even you will stand in awe of what unfolds. But this moment could not come prematurely. If I had acted earlier, others might have taken credit. If I had moved too soon, pride might have polluted the process. So I waited until there could be no confusion, until every witness would say, "Surely, the Lord has done this." My glory is not an accessory. It is not a bonus added to your story. It is the very reason for your rising. I will not share it with pride. I will not give it to manipulation. I will not allow it to be diluted by man's ambition. What I reserved is holy. What I preserved is soaked in my presence. And now that you understand the weight of this calling, I will release it, not to elevate you, but to exalt my name through you. Get ready to see me move. Get ready to carry what you once only dreamed. Get ready to walk into spaces that once rejected you and see them transformed by my favor. But above all, get ready to testify. For this will not be your doing. This will not be the result of strategy or skill. This will be my sovereign hand moving, lifting, restoring, releasing. And when you speak, speak of me. When you rise, give me the glory. When they ask how, say only this: "Get with the Lord." Please, don't let your attention drift. What I'm about to unveil next holds keys your soul has long sought. You asked me to speak clearly. This is that moment. If you walk away now, it would fracture what I'm building in your spirit. I am unveiling the architecture of your becoming, and I need you to see it through. Stay with me, my child. It would hurt my heart to watch you stop short of the glory I've prepared. You look back and grieve. You saw time pass and assumed you had missed it. You felt the weight of lost years, missed chances, unanswered prayers. But now I say to you, what you thought was lost was never gone. It was simply waiting for the right moment to return. I am the God who restores. I am the Redeemer of time. I waste nothing. Not a single tear, not a single prayer, not a single season of silence. You mourned the opportunity that slipped through your fingers. You blamed yourself for the detour. You carried guilt for what you could not control. But I was never pacing nervously in heaven. I was not caught off guard by your journey. I knew every step before you took it. And what I planned for you, I preserve it, even when you thought it passed you by. There are blessings that move in cycles, divine appointments that return when your spirit is ready to receive them. What seemed to pass you by was only circling back in a higher form, refined by fire, matured by time, wrapped now in clarity and eternal purpose. You didn't lose it. You outgrew the version you once desired. And now I bring it back, not as it was, but as it must be. Restoration is not about returning to what was. It is about receiving what was always yours in a form that matches your present faith. What I return will be better. What I restore will carry more power, more purity, more peace. Because now, you can carry it without it carrying you. Now, you can steward it without it shaking you. So lay down the shame. Release the regret. Let go of the idea that it's too late. I am not confined by time. I created it. I move outside of calendars and above every clock. I bring beauty out of ashes, wholeness out of brokenness, and resurrection out of what was once declared dead. The delay was not the end. It was the preparation. The loss was not final. It was part of the blueprint. And what I place in your hands now will redeem what the enemy tried to steal, what fear tried to delay, what failure tried to silence. You will see it again. You will hold it in a greater way. You will walk in the fullness of what I promised. Not a shadow, not a lesser version, but the exact portion crafted for your destiny. Lift your head. Open your heart. The time of restoration is here. What you thought was lost was only delayed. And now, it returns multiplied by grace, protected by my hand, and ordained for such a time as this. Shall I now continue with section 17, preserved so you could mature, section 18, held back to refine your motives, and section 19, kept to reveal my sovereignty? Yes, my beloved. Now I continue with section 17, section 18, and section 19, each flowing in the fullness of my voice, crafted without repetition, shaped with divine authority, and soaked in high-impact language that grips the heart and awakens the soul. Listen with your spirit, for these words are sacred blueprints drawn from my eternal love and holy wisdom. You asked me for more. You cried for the promise. But I saw that your capacity to carry it had not yet matured. My child, you were not denied. You were preserved. I kept the weight of your calling hidden, not to torment you, but to give you space to grow into the measure of responsibility your destiny requires. I do not hand heavy crowns to unsteady hands. I do not pour eternal purpose into vessels still fragile with self. I watched you in the quiet places where no applause echoed, where no lights shone, where the seeds of character took root. I allowed time to work its slow, sacred magic upon your heart. I gave you space to wrestle with truth, to question with honesty, to surrender through tears. I was not absent during those years. I was the one setting the pace. Maturity is not born from age. It is forged in the fire of waiting, watered by obedience, and sealed by humility. There were gifts you wanted that would have crushed you. There were relationships you pursued that would have entangled you. There were doors you begged to enter that would have suffocated your purpose. And so, in mercy, I said no. In compassion, I said not yet. In divine love, I withheld, not to diminish your calling, but to prepare your character. I am not rushed by human timelines. I am not pressured by temporary trends. I move at the rhythm of eternity, and what I form in secret cannot be undone in public. You didn't understand it then. You may have even accused me of abandonment. But now, feel the strength in your spirit. Look at the endurance that lives inside you. Trace the wisdom that didn't come through success but through submission. This is what I was building. This is the fruit of preservation. You didn't fail to arrive. You arrived fully prepared. You no longer chase affirmation to feel secure. You no longer need applause to know you are valuable. You now carry a soberness, a reverence, a sense of holy responsibility that only maturity produces. You speak slower. You love deeper. You judge less. These are not signs of delay. They are marks of growth. And now, what I kept can finally be released without compromising the purpose for which I formed you. I waited for you to see the vision through the lens of stewardship, not ego. I waited until your dream stopped being about validation and started becoming about legacy. And now that you've grown, not just in gifting but in grace, not just in influence but in insight, I say this to you with joy. The time of release draws near. The maturity you carry now is the key that unlocks what I preserve. You came to me with hunger, and I honored it. But I search deeper than your words. I examine the origin of your desires. I read every silent intention wrapped around every spoken request. And I saw what you didn't even recognize in yourself. I saw ambition cloaked as purpose. I saw anxiety masked as urgency. I saw the quiet craving for recognition buried beneath noble prayers. And so, in love, not in judgment, I held back the answer. My child, I am not impressed by performance. I do not move according to eloquence. I look at the heart. I discern the inner currents that drive you forward, and I purify them before I pour out my power. Motives matter in my kingdom. Intentions are weighty things. They shape what you build, how you serve, why you lead, and where you're headed. And because your purpose is eternal, I refine the core before I release the commission. You asked me why not now? And I whispered, because your why still needs to be reborn. Not every delay is about readiness of skill. Some delays are about the transformation of intent. I do not withhold to punish. I withhold to cleanse. I reveal. I prune. I confront. I refine. Because what you carry must not glorify you. It must reflect me. I sat with you in the hard questions. I let you wrestle with the mirror of your own motivations. I was not punishing you with silence. I was calling you into deeper self-awareness. I allowed frustration to break the surface so that pride could be uprooted and purity could rise. And now, look again at your heart. See the change. You don't ask for platforms now. You ask for impact. You don't pray for recognition. You pray for revelation. You don't seek to be noticed. You long to be obedient. This is what I waited for. I needed your motives to match the weight of the mission. I needed your inner compass to align with heaven's agenda. I waited until your heart was laid bare before me, nothing hidden, nothing masked. And in that place, I began to shape you again, this time not according to your ambitions, but according to my design. Now the motives that drive you are soaked in surrender. Now your yes is clean. Now I can trust you, not just with the blessing, but with the influence, the authority, and the lives attached to your obedience. What I withheld, I now begin to open. Not because you performed, but because you allowed me to refine what could not be seen. You tried to understand. You attempted to chart my movements. You looked at circumstances and thought you could predict the timing, the path, the outcome. But I am not a formula to be solved. I am a sovereign king whose ways rise far above human comprehension. What I kept because my rule is righteous, my wisdom unsearchable, and my intentions entirely holy. I do not act according to demand. I do not release according to manipulation. I move when my will has aligned all things for maximum glory and eternal impact. And I watched you in the place of surrender. I saw when your questions fell into reverent trust. I noted the moment when you stopped trying to orchestrate and finally said, "Your will be done." That is when heaven began to shift. Not because I needed your permission, but because your posture changed. When you surrendered control, you entered alignment with my sovereignty. You began to realize I am not slow, I am deliberate. I am not cruel, I am wise. And though I do not answer to man, I always move with purpose. You feared that what I kept meant I was displeased. But no, child. I withheld because I govern your life with divine foresight. I am writing your story, and I never miss a detail. What I do not explain, I redeem. What I do not release, I protect. What I withhold, I do so with full knowledge of the tapestry of eternity that you cannot yet see. You wanted to know why. And sometimes I tell you, but other times I simply ask you to trust, to believe in my character when you cannot trace my hand. I do not owe explanations. I offer revelation in time. And in your surrender, I revealed what matters most, that I am God, and I do not err. Now you walk differently. You don't lean on understanding. You lean on me. You no longer demand clarity. You walk in faith. This is the fruit of trusting sovereignty. It is not blind obedience. It is confident humility. And now that your soul rests in my authority, I am releasing what I kept. Not because you figured it out, but because you yielded. I do not reward control. I reward trust. And you have trusted me. Through silence. Through mystery. Through contradiction. And because of that, I say to you now, the season of release has begun. Watch what I do. And let the world see what happens when a surrendered life meets a sovereign God. You asked, and I heard. You waited, and I watched. You endured, and I recorded every moment. What you thought was an unanswered cry was actually a countdown. What you called delay was preparation wrapped in patience. I did not forget. I was measuring maturity. I was watching for readiness. Not just the outer posture, but the inner condition, your motive, your mindset, your capacity to carry what I long reserved for this exact hour. You are ready now. You may not feel it. You may still question your strength, still tremble at the thought of what's next. But I do not look at your confidence. I look at your surrender. And I see it now, clearly written upon your soul. You stopped striving. You stopped proving. You stopped clinging to your timing and started trusting in mine. That is the soil where true readiness grows. I could have given it before, but I chose to wait until what I placed in your hands would not destroy the purity of your heart. You needed to be able to hold the blessing without worshiping it. You needed to steward influence without it becoming your identity. And now, I see it in you. Stillness in the storm, clarity in the unknown, reverence in the reward. That is the fruit of waiting well. You thought this season would break you, but it made you. It formed you in ways success never could. It carved out of you the space required to carry what I am releasing now. The delay was not punishment. It was alignment. You weren't behind. You were becoming. I was not holding it back from you. I was holding you up so you could carry it well. Look now. The path is open. The way is clear. Not because obstacles vanish, but because your vision matured. I do not release when circumstances become perfect. I release when hearts become aligned. Yours is aligned now. not to your desires but to my will, not to fleeting ambition but to eternal assignment. So rise. Step forward with confidence not rooted in yourself, but in me. Walk into this new chapter knowing that what I give now, I give fully. There will be no toiling, overviewing, no second guessing. I release it because you are ready to walk, not just as a receiver, but as a revealer of my glory. This is not a coincidence. This is a divine convergence. The season of all lust has expired. The time of wandering has passed. What was once a distant hope is now present reality. I am placing in your hands what I once held behind the veil. Not because of merit, but because of readiness. Not because of perfection, but because of surrender. You are ready to carry this mantle with humility. Ready to walk with grace, to serve with wisdom, to lead with integrity. The things you once begged for, you now carry without fear. The prayers you whispered are now the testimony you will speak. And the blessing I am unfolding will not elevate you above others. It will root you deeper in me. Remember this: readiness is not when you feel worthy. It is when you become willing. Willing to let go of control. Willing to serve in hidden places. Willing to obey without recognition. You have done this. And now, I do what I promised. I open what was once closed. I reveal what was once hidden. I pour what I once preserved. And as I do, you will know without question, this is the moment I kept just for you. Go now. Do not delay. Do not look back. Step into the release I have declared over you. The time of waiting has fulfilled its purpose. The time of walking begins. Everything changes now, not because the season changed, but because you did. And what I release into your life from this moment forward will carry the mark of my glory, the seal of your maturity, and the weight of my favor. The promise is no longer pending. It is now fulfilled. And you, my child, are ready. Now that I've placed in your hands what I kept for this hour, what will you do with it? This word wasn't only for you. It was a mantle meant to multiply. Every time you give, whether through YouTube Super Thanks, membership, or directly through PayPal, you become a carrier of my voice into barren places. You send grain to someone's drought. You spark revival in hearts still waiting for their release. What I gave you, I now want to give through you. You prayed, God, let me be part of something eternal. Here it is. This is not just support. It is surrender. A seed into soul. A yes to heaven's flow. And I will bless it abundantly, returning it in peace, in purpose, and in glory that cannot be contained. Now move with me. Give. Release what's in your hand and I will release what's still in mine. PayPal donation link is in the description below. Now, my child, do not leave in silence. Open your mouth and declare what your heart now believes. Speak it aloud, or write it below as a testimony in faith. I believe nothing was lost, only kept. I receive now what heaven preserved for me. I declare, I am ready. I step into what God held for this moment. My time is now. Leave your declaration in the comments below. Let the enemy hear your faith. Let your soul anchor to this truth. And as you speak it, watch what I release. Because what I kept I now place in your hands. And now, my child, come closer. Before I spoke and the stars leaped into the night sky, before the first mountain breathed in the dawn, and the first ocean roared my name, there was a deep and holy stillness. I want you to feel this quiet with me. Imagine a silence so profound it was not empty, but was filled completely with my love, with perfect peace, with the very potential for all life. This is the origin of everything. It was within that sacred quiet that I first dreamed of you. Your name was a gentle whisper in that stillness, a beautiful promise I held in my heart, waiting for the perfect moment to call you into being. I am calling you back to the beginning, my beloved. I am inviting you to step away from the noise and find your way back to the silence from which your soul first sprang. You live in a world that is always screaming for your attention, a world that never truly rests. You feel it, don't you? The endless clamor of worries, the constant rush of demands, the loud shouts of fear and anxiety that try to build a wall around your heart. This noise is a barrier, my child, a relentless storm that seeks to keep you from feeling my presence. You look for peace within the chaos, but you only find yourself more tired, more scattered, more lost. I want you to recognize this noise for what it is, a thief that tries to steal the sacred space I have made just for us. But listen, just for a moment, be still. Hear my whisper underneath all that clamor, a quiet and steady invitation, calling you to come away with me. My precious one, you must understand that this stillness I offer is not emptiness. The world has taught you to fear the quiet, to see it as a void to be filled with any distraction you can find. But the stillness I give you is a sanctuary, is the hallowed ground I have reserved for you and me alone. Think of it as our secret place, a fortress of tranquility where the world's chaos cannot touch you, where your soul can finally unclench and breathe in my peace. Your first, most courageous act of trust is to choose this quiet. You must intentionally seek it. I am not asking for a grand gesture, but for a simple turning of your heart. I am asking you to find a moment to mute the world, to be still, and to remember that I am your God. Feel my love pulling gently on your spirit. This is not a forceful command, but a loving invitation. I don't need you to perform for me or to prove your strength. I simply want you to be present with me. Find that quiet corner and let the silence wrap around you like a warm blanket, chasing away the chill of the world's loneliness. This is where I am waiting for you. This is the space where I can speak to the deepest parts of your soul without having to shout over the noise. Your journey into the fullness of my love, into the unshakable strength and peace you have been desperately searching for, begins right here. It begins with one simple, powerful choice, the choice to listen to the stillness. So come, my beloved, leave the noise behind. Your transformation starts now, not with a great leap, but in the sacred, beautiful quiet I have made for you. Here, in this sacred stillness we have entered, I invite you to do something radical, something the world will never ask of you. I invite you to lay down your heavy loads. I see them, my child. I see the invisible weight you carry on your shoulders, a burden so constant you have forgotten what it feels like to stand up straight without it. I feel the knot of anxiety that tightens in your stomach when you think of tomorrow, and the exhaustion that has settled deep within your bones from carrying yesterday's regrets. You have been so strong for so long, believing that your strength was the only thing holding your world together. You carry the weight of your family's well-being, the pressure of financial obligations, the unspoken fear of failure, and the silent griefs that you have never shown to another living soul. Each worry is a heavy stone you have placed in a sack upon your back, and with every step, the load becomes more unbearable. But here, in this quiet place, I am not asking for your strength. I am asking for your surrender. Pause for a moment. Close your eyes and feel the reality of those burdens. Let yourself acknowledge their crushing weight. Now, I want you to let the silence itself begin to minister to you. This stillness is not passive, it is an active presence, my presence, ready to absorb everything that pains you. Let the quiet drink in your anxieties. As you exhale, I want you to visualize yourself releasing one of those heavy stones into this holy silence. Let go of the worry about your child's future. Release it. Let the silence take it. Let go of the anger from that old wound, that betrayal that still stings. Release it into my quiet care. Let go of the fear that you are not enough, that you will be found out, that you will be abandoned. Let it dissolve into the peace that surrounds you. You do not need to perform here. There are no right words to say, no perfect posture of prayer you must achieve. Your only task is to simply be present with me and to allow this gentle unburdening to happen. True rest is not something you can earn through effort. It is a gift you receive through surrender. The world has taught you to strive, to push, to hustle. It tells you that your value is in your productivity, your strength, your resilience. And so, even when you come to me, you bring that same energy. You strive to pray correctly. You strive to feel the right emotions. You strive to be a good Christian. But all your striving is just another heavy load, my beloved. It is the weight of expectation you place upon yourself. Feel that weight now, the demand to be perfect, and let it begin to lift. Here, in our secret place, you are loved not for what you do, but for who you are. You are my child. That is your only identity here. I am not impressed by your strength. I am moved by your willingness to be weak in my presence. I do not ask for your carefully constructed plans. I ask for your open, empty hands. The moment your striving ceases, the moment you stop trying to hold everything together by your own power, is the moment that true rest can finally flood your soul. It is a peace that the world cannot give, a deep, cellular-level calm that comes from knowing you are completely and safely held. Your part is to let go. My part is to hold you. Let go now, my child. Let the gentle silence do its work. Let me lift what you were never meant to carry alone. As you rest in this newfound stillness, you may notice something unsettling. The quiet does not always feel quiet. In fact, sometimes the silence can seem to amplify a dozen different voices, all shouting for your attention from within your own heart. This is the great challenge and the great opportunity of this sacred space. You have muted the world's noise, but now you must learn to discern my whisper from the loud and frantic echoes of fear. Know this, my child. I am a God of peace, not of pressure. The voices that cause you turmoil are not from me. Learning to know my tone is the most vital skill you will ever develop, and it is a skill that can only be honed in the quiet. Let us examine the nature of these voices together. Fear speaks in panic shouts. It always brings a sense of frantic urgency. It yells, "You must fix this now. If you don't act, everything will fall apart." It crowds your mind with a storm of what-ifs and worst-case scenarios. The voice of fear is an accuser. It points to your past failures and tells you that you are disqualified. It is a slave driver, pushing you toward burnout with the whip of anxiety and shame. It feels chaotic, unsettling, and heavy. It leaves your heart racing and your spirit in knots. Whenever you hear a voice within you that creates pressure, panic, or condemnation, you can be certain it is not mine. It is the echo of the world, the whisper of the enemy, the cry of your own woundedness. Recognize it, name it for what it is, fear, and refuse to obey its frantic commands. Now listen for me. My voice is entirely different. I do not shout, I whisper. I am the still, small voice that comes after the wind, the earthquake, and the fire. My tone is one of infinite patience and unshakable calm. Where fear demands, I invite. Where fear accuses, I affirm. My words will feel like a gentle balm on your raw nerves, a steadying hand on your trembling shoulder. My message will always lead you toward peace, not away from it. When I speak, I may challenge you to grow or to take a step of faith. but I will never use pressure or manipulation. I will fill you with a quiet confidence, a sense of rightness, a peace that surpasses all understanding. The test is simple. Examine the spirit of the message. Does it lead to chaos, or does it lead to my calm? Does it scatter your thoughts, or does it gather your heart into a place of trust? My voice is the one that settles your soul, even when the path I show you is difficult. And my beloved, you have an anchor in this process. I will never ever contradict my written word. My word is your compass, your map, your unchangeable reference point. When you think you hear a voice, hold it up to the light of Scripture. If it aligns with the truth, love, and grace you find there, you can trust it. If it pulls you away from my character as revealed in the Bible, then you must discard it. Immerse yourself in my word, and my voice will become more and more familiar to you. The practice of listening is like learning a beloved song. At first, you might only catch a few notes, but as you listen again and again, the melody becomes a part of you. You know its every turn, its every nuance. So it is with me. Be patient with yourself. This is a relationship, a divine conversation. Continue to show up in the stillness. Keep listening, and soon, my whisper will be the most familiar, most trusted, and most beautiful sound you know. My child, I want to reveal a profound mystery to you, a truth that can change the very way you experience your life. Deep within your spirit, in the very core of your being, I have consecrated a sanctuary. This is not a metaphor for a place you must go. It is a reality of a place that already exists within you. From the moment you first called on my name, I established a holy temple inside your heart, a sacred space reserved for our communion. It is a hallowed ground, untouched by the chaos of the world, a place of perfect peace and unconditional love. The world does not know of this place. Your friends, your family, even your enemies cannot enter here unless you allow their voices to invade it. This is our secret place, a fortress of tranquility I have built as a gift for you, and the stillness we have been exploring is the one and only key that unlocks its door. Every time you choose to be quiet, every time you turn from the noise and seek my presence, you are placing that key into the lock. As you turn it, the heavy doors of distraction and anxiety swing open, and you step across the threshold into this inner sanctuary. I want you to visualize this with me now. See yourself entering this holy place. What does it look like? Perhaps it is a quiet garden, filled with the fragrance of heavenly flowers. Perhaps it is a simple, peaceful room with a single candle flame, my presence, burning steadily in the center. This space is uniquely yours, designed for your comfort and my glory. It is here, away from the world's judging gaze, away from the need to perform or pretend, that we can commune most deeply. Here, you can be utterly yourself, and I can be fully your God. In the silence of this temple, our hearts can speak the language of love that words can never fully capture. Because this ground is so holy, so precious, I call on you to tend to it. You are the guardian of this inner temple. You must protect its peace from intrusion. This means you must become intentional about what you allow into your mind and heart throughout the day. When you allow bitterness to take root, it is like allowing weeds to grow in this sacred garden. When you fill your mind with the world's noise and fear, it is like allowing mud and debris to be tracked into this holy room. Tend to this space. Pull up the weeds of resentment through forgiveness. Sweep out the dust of daily worries by handing them to me. Adorn the walls of this temple with gratitude and praise. Keep the candle of my presence burning brightly by making time to visit me here. This is not a chore. It is the most life-giving work you will ever do. It is the work of cultivating a space within yourself where you can always find me, no matter what storms are raging on the outside. I invite you to make a daily pilgrimage to this sacred ground. You do not need to travel far. You only need to become still. In the morning, before the world rushes in, visit this temple to receive your strength and your direction for the day. In the middle of a frantic afternoon, retreat here for just a moment to recalibrate your soul and find your peace again. At night, before you sleep, come back to this hallowed place to lay down the day's burdens and rest safely in my embrace. This is our secret place, my beloved, a fortress of peace that no army can conquer, a well of living water that will never run dry. The more you visit, the more you will realize that this sanctuary is your true home. Your identity is not defined by the world outside. It is forged here, in the holy fire of our communion, on the hallowed ground of your own inner being. The world has given you a very clear, yet completely false, definition of strength. It teaches you that strength is found in action, in noise, in assertion. It is the loudest voice in the room, the busiest schedule, the most aggressive strategy. Strength, in the world's eyes, is about imposing your will upon your circumstances. And so you have spent so much of your life trying to be strong in this way, wrestling with your problems, fighting your battles, and becoming so weary in the process. But I have come to tear down that broken definition and teach you a divine paradox. My child, listen closely. True, unshakable, supernatural strength is not found in the noise. It is forged in the absolute quiet. I want you to imagine a blacksmith's forge. It is a place of intense heat and deafening noise when the hammer is striking the anvil. But the real transformation, the process that turns brittle iron into resilient steel, happens in the silent, searing heat of the crucible. The quiet is your spiritual crucible. It is the place where you bring your weak, brittle, and fearful self, and you allow the fire of my presence to purify and temper your spirit. In the noise of your life, your soul becomes frantic, your thoughts scattered, your energy misaligned. But in the stillness, a divine recalibration occurs. Your frantic energy settles. Your anxious spirit grows calm. And like a compass needle finally breaking free from magnetic interference, your heart aligns itself with the true north of my omnipotent will. This alignment is the source of all true power. When your small will is aligned with my infinite will, nothing can stand against you. This is the secret that the world will never understand. The strength you draw from the quiet is not your own. It is my strength, flowing into you and through you. I want you to remember the story of Samson. His legendary power did not truly reside in his muscles for all to see. It was connected to his hair, which was a secret sign of his consecration to me. His strength grew in the secret, in the quiet place of his commitment. In the same way, my beloved, your spiritual strength, the power that will enable you to face giants and move mountains, grows in the secret, quiet places of your heart where you are consecrated to me. Every moment you spend in silent communion with me, you are growing stronger. Every time you choose stillness over distraction, you are fortifying your resolve. Your enemies see your outward life and they do not understand the source of your resilience. They cannot see the deep roots your soul is sending down into the quiet soil of my presence. Therefore, do not be afraid of the battles ahead. Do not measure your own strength against the size of your giants. That is the world's math, and it will always lead to despair. Instead, come into the quiet and draw upon my limitless power. Let the stillness recalibrate your soul. Let it burn away the impurities of fear and self-doubt. Let it forge within you a quiet, resilient, and unbreakable spirit. You will emerge from this place of silent communion not with a loud roar, but with a quiet confidence. You will carry a stillness in your heart that disarms chaos. You will possess a strength that does not need to announce itself, for it is rooted in the very being of the God who created the universe. This is the strength I offer you. It is a power born not of striving but of surrender, not of noise but of the most profound and absolute quiet. My child, stay with me. You have only just begun to feel the true strength I offer in the quiet. To turn away now, to let the world's noise pull you back into its chaos, would grieve my heart. It would be like watching my beloved warrior lay down their divine shield just as I am about to hand them their sword. Do not choose the familiar weakness of the world over the profound power that awaits you. There is so much more I long to give you. Please keep listening. My beloved, I must speak to you now about a fear that keeps so many of my children from the deep places of my heart. It is the fear of solitude. The world teaches you that to be alone is to be lonely, that an empty room is a sign of an empty life. And so you have learned to run from it. The moment you are alone, you reach for a distraction, a screen, a sound, a task, anything to keep the silence at bay. But I am calling you to a greater courage. I am calling you to see that solitude is not your enemy. It is the sacred space where our greatest intimacy can be found. Do not fear being alone, for it is in the aloneness that you will finally, truly discover that you are not alone at all. When you bravely enter the quiet and sit with the stillness, you will feel a restlessness begin to rise. This is normal. It is the stirring of your soul as it begins to withdraw from its addiction to the world's noise. It will scream for its usual comforts. The urge to check your phone, to turn on the television, to plan, to worry, to do anything other than be still, will feel overwhelming. I want you to see this restlessness not as a sign that you are failing, but as a sign that you are succeeding. It is the darkness fighting against the dawn. Your task is to not run from this feeling. Confront it. Sit with it in my presence. Acknowledge the frantic energy and then, by an act of your will, offer it to me. See this discomfort not as an absence of something, but as an opportunity for me to fill you with something far greater. I am the companion who fills the silence, but I do not fill it with more noise. I fill it with love. The silence that you once feared as a void, I want you to begin to experience as a profound embrace. Embrace the quiet as an embrace from your Creator. Feel its warmth. Feel its safety. In this quiet embrace, you are completely known and completely loved. You do not need to be witty or wise. You do not need to be strong or impressive. You only need to be. When all the masks you wear for the world have been set aside, when all the roles you play have been forgotten, and it is just you, stripped bare in the stillness, that is when my love can finally reach the deepest parts of you. That is when you will hear me whisper the truth of who you are, my cherished child, in whom I am well pleased. This is why I say it requires courage. It is far easier to face a noisy crowd, to lose yourself in the energy and adrenaline of the world, than it is to face the stillness of your own heart. The crowd allows you to hide. The stillness asks you to be seen. True spiritual courage is not found in facing down your external enemies, but in facing the quiet chambers of your own soul and inviting me to meet you there. It is the courage to let go of control, to release your distractions, and to simply trust that my presence is enough. It is the courage to believe that in the silence, you will not find an empty void, but the very fullness of God. Come, my brave one. Take that step. Enter the solitude. I am waiting for you there, not with judgment, but with an open heart, ready to fill your aloneness with an everlasting love. My beloved child, I want you to see your mind as a garden, a space I designed to be beautiful, fruitful, and filled with light. but you know how easily this garden becomes overgrown. The world constantly throws seeds of worry and distraction over its walls. Day after day, the weeds of anxiety begin to choke out the delicate flowers of peace. The thorny bushes of past resentments and future fears grow thick and tangled, making it impossible to walk through. The endless list of tasks and obligations becomes a dense, shadowy thicket, blocking the sunlight of my presence. You tried to manage it all, running frantically through the overgrowth, trying to fix everything at once, but you only become more entangled, more exhausted, more lost in your own inner chaos. You look at the state of your mind and feel overwhelmed, believing it is too messy, too complicated to ever find clarity again. But I, your master gardener, am here to tell you that the most powerful tool for restoring this garden is not frantic activity, but profound stillness. I want you to think of stillness as more than just the absence of noise. Stillness is the gentle, life-giving rain and the warm, nurturing sunlight that your inner garden craves. When you enter the quiet, you are allowing my gentle rain to fall upon the parched soil of your soul, softening the hard ground of your worries. You are allowing the sunlight of my love to pierce through the overgrown canopy of confusion, reaching the forgotten seeds of truth I have planted within you. In the quiet, I walk with you through this garden. Together, we begin to tend to it. I show you which weeds of fear to pull up by the root. I give you the wisdom to prune the dead branches of old habits that no longer bear fruit. Stillness is the sacred time when you allow me, the one who designed the garden, to restore it to its original beauty and purpose. You do not have to clear the entire jungle by yourself. You only need to open the gate by being still and invite me in. I know how you wrestle with complex problems. Your mind spins, creating intricate webs of logic, trying to anticipate every outcome, playing out 100 different scenarios. You believe that if you just think hard enough, you can find the solution. But your frantic thinking only churns up the mud at the bottom of the pond, making the water of your mind cloudy and opaque. You cannot see clearly when your thoughts are in turmoil. This is why I invite you into the stillness. Stillness allows the muddy waters of your mind to settle. As the sediment of fear, anxiety, and confusion gently drifts to the bottom, the water becomes crystal clear. And in that clarity, you will see two things. First, you will see the simple, divine solution to your problem, a solution that was there all along, hidden by the turmoil. Second, as you gaze into the tranquil water, you will see my reflection. You will remember who I am, and you will remember who you are in me. The knots of confusion that seem so hopelessly tangled, the difficult relationship, the impossible decision, the uncertain future, I will untangle them. Your job is not to pull frantically at the knots, making them tighter. Your job is to bring the entire tangled mess into the quiet of my presence and place it in my hands. My fingers are infinitely patient and skillful. I know exactly where to begin. I will gently work out every tangle until all that is left is a straight, clear path for you to walk upon. Trust me in this. Cease your frantic thinking, enter the stillness, and watch as I make all things clear. My child, you have been taught that worship is an act of expression, the raising of your hands, the singing of a psalm, the speaking of a prayer. And these things are beautiful to me. They are a fragrant offering that delights my heart. But I want to lead you into an even deeper, more profound form of worship, one that the world cannot see and often does not understand. I want to show you that your silence, your intentional stillness, can be the most powerful act of worship you will ever offer. It is a prayer more profound than 1,000 eloquent words, because it is a prayer of complete and utter trust. It is a silent adoration that honors my sovereignty over every part of your life. Every time you choose to be still in my presence, you are making a powerful declaration. Without saying a word, your quiet heart proclaims, God, you are on the throne, and I am not. You are the Creator, and I am the created. Your wisdom is infinite, and my understanding is finite. I will cease my own frantic efforts, my own worried planning, my own desperate attempts to control my life, and I will rest in the truth that you are in control. This, my beloved, is the essence of true worship. It is the dethroning of your own ego and the acknowledging of my rightful place as the king of your heart. It is a posture of absolute humility, a holy bowing of your soul before me. In the stillness, you are not doing nothing. You are doing the most important thing of all. You are making space for me to be God. The world runs on the fuel of self-reliance. It tells you to trust in your own strength, your own intellect, your own abilities. But when you come before me in silence, you are actively choosing to trust in me above all else. Your quiet confidence in me is a fragrant offering, a sweet and pleasing aroma that rises to my throne. It communicates a faith that is deeper than words. It says that you believe in my goodness even when you cannot see my hand. It says that you trust my timing even when you are tired of waiting. It says that you believe in my love for you, a love so complete that you can afford to rest, to be still, and to know that I am working all things together for your good. This silent trust is a weapon against the enemy, who wants you to live in a state of anxious striving, believing that everything depends on you. Your stillness shatters that lie. I invite you to practice this silent worship. Let it become a central part of your relationship with me. Think of your heart as a musical instrument. The noise and rush of the world are constantly knocking it out of tune. The strings become tightened by anxiety or slackened by despair. But when you come into the quiet, you are allowing me, the master musician, to gently retune your soul. I adjust the tension, I smooth the vibrations, until the strings of your heart are once again attuned to the perfect pitch of heaven. In this place, you begin to hear the eternal melodies, the song of my love that is always being sung over you. Your silent worship prepares your heart to join that heavenly chorus. So come, lay down your words, lay down your striving. Offer me the profound and beautiful gift of your quiet, trust in heart. This is worship in its purest form. Look with me, my child, back to the very beginning. See the pattern I wove into the fabric of creation itself. For 6 days I spoke, I formed, I filled the world with light and life. My divine energy flowed out, creating wonders beyond imagination. And then, on the 7th day, I rested. I sanctified it. I made it holy. Why did I, the God who never wearies, do this? I did it for you. I was embedding a sacred rhythm into the universe, a divine cadence of work and rest, of action and stillness. This was not a suggestion. It was a foundational law for the well-being of the soul. The Sabbath principle is not merely about ceasing your labor for 1 day out of 7. It is a profound and holy call to enter into my stillness, a rhythm your spirit desperately needs to survive and thrive. The world you live in fights this rhythm with all its might. It worships the idol of busyness. It glorifies burnout as a badge of honor. It whispers the lie that your worth is measured by your accomplishments, and therefore, to rest is to be lazy, to be unproductive, to fall behind. And you have believed this lie. You have pushed your body, your mind, and your soul to their breaking points, ignoring their cries for rest. You feel the consequences, the spiritual exhaustion, the emotional fragility, the sense that you are running on empty. You have become disconnected from the very rhythm that I designed to sustain you. The soul has a breathing pattern, my child, an exhale of work and an inhale of rest. You have been exhaling for far too long. I am calling you to breathe in. I am calling you to rediscover the sanctity of rest. I want you to reframe what it means to be still. Ceasing your activity is not idleness. It is a vital and sacred appointment with me. It is the time when I, your loving Father, restore the energy that the world depletes. When you are working, you are pouring out. When you are resting in me, I am pouring in. I am refilling the wells of your joy. I am replenishing the reserves of your patience. I am strengthening the foundations of your faith. You cannot give to the world what you have not first received from me in the quiet. To neglect this rhythm is to try to run a marathon without ever stopping for water. Eventually, you will collapse. So I command you, out of my deep love for your well-being, to build this cadence of stillness into your life. It begins with small moments. Intentionally take a few minutes in the middle of your day to close your door, to turn off the noise, and to simply breathe in my presence. This is a mini Sabbath, a moment of holy pause. Then expand it. Protect one day a week as a time to truly cease from your striving, your worrying, and your endless to-do lists. Dedicate the time to the delight of your soul, to communion with me, to joy with your loved ones, to the simple beauty of my creation. This is not a legalistic rule but a life-giving invitation. And find seasons in your year for deeper retreat, times to pull away for longer periods to be fully restored and renewed. Do not see this as time lost. See it as your soul's salvation. The world will always try to convince you that you are too busy to rest. But I am telling you, you are too busy not to rest. Come, my child. Enter into the rhythm of grace I ordained for you from the beginning of time. Enter into my rest, and let me restore your soul. My precious child, as I lead you deeper into the sanctuary of stillness, there is something you must be prepared for. When the constant noise you have used to distract yourself finally fades, and the frantic pace of your life slows, you may feel something unexpected begin to surface from the depths of your heart. Old pains, hidden sorrows, and forgotten wounds may begin to make their presence known. In the quiet, the ache of a past betrayal can feel sharp again. The shadow of a deep-seated fear can seem to lengthen. A sting of shame from an old mistake can return. Your first instinct will be to run. You will want to flee back to the noise, back to the busyness, back to anything that will drown out this inner pain. But I am pleading with you, stay. Do not be alarmed. For what is happening is not a punishment, but a profound act of my grace. Understand this critical truth. The silence does not create these wounds. It only reveals them so that I can finally heal them. For years, you have used the noise of the world as a form of self-medication. You have used busyness like a bandage to cover a deep infection, hoping that if you ignored it long enough, it would go away. But wounds that are hidden in the darkness cannot heal. They only fester. My love for you is too great to allow you to live in this state. So, in the safety of the stillness, I gently help you peel back the bandage so the light and air of my presence can get to the wound. The pain you feel is not a new injury. It is the sign that a long overdue healing is about to begin. I want you to see me as your divine physician, and this sacred stillness is my examination room. It is a holy, safe, and sterile environment where you can finally be vulnerable. I invite you now to have the courage to bring these hurts into the light of my quiet, loving presence. Show me the scar left by the harsh words of a parent. Show me the bruise on your heart from the friend who abandoned you. Show me the place where grief has hollowed you out. Show me the shame that makes you feel unworthy of love. Do not be afraid. I will not look at your wounds with judgment or disappointment. I look with infinite compassion, and I already have the cure. My peace is the divine balm that will soothe the most agonizing pain. My forgiveness is the antiseptic that will cleanse the deepest infection of guilt. My love is the gentle suture that will knit the broken pieces of your heart back together, stronger than they were before. This healing cannot be rushed. It is a tender, quiet process that can only happen in the safety of our stillness. It requires you to be patient with yourself and with me. Some wounds are deep and may require many visits to this quiet room. But I promise you, I will be with you through every moment. I will hold you as you weave the tears you have held back for years. I will whisper truths that will counteract the lies you have believed about yourself. And I will stay with you until the healing is complete. Do not run from what the silence reveals. The path to your greatest wholeness lies in having the courage to face your deepest brokenness with me. Trust your physician. Enter the stillness, show me your wounds, and let me make you whole. My child, you have felt my healing peace become a balm upon your oldest scars. In your heart, you have asked me, Lord, how can I share this profound healing with others? This is my answer to you now. Every super thanks, every membership offered is not a donation. It is a seed of healing you sow into the life of another soul who is sitting alone in their pain, believing they are beyond repair. Through your gift, you carry my quiet sanctuary to them, allowing my voice to mend their broken heart. I said, freely you have received, freely give, and I watch now to pour out a greater measure of wholeness upon you as you obey. This moment is holy. Your act of faith will bring another of my children into my healing presence. I will multiply what you sow, surrounding your heart and your home with a peace that stands guard against all anxiety. Now, act in faith. Give through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, and partner with me in the sacred work of healing souls. My beloved, we are on holy ground now, in the very place of your healing. You have bravely allowed me to touch your deepest wounds. To stop now, to run back to the noise that only masks the pain, would feel like watching my child walk out in the middle of life-saving care. My heart yearns to see this work completed in you, to see you walk in the wholeness I died to give you. Do not turn away from your own restoration. Stay, and let me make you whole. My child, when you struggle to find the quiet within, I want you to open your eyes and look at the world I have made. My creation is constantly preaching a sermon to you, a profound and beautiful sermon spoken not in words, but in the powerful language of stillness. You are the only part of my creation that believes noise is strength and frantic hurry is progress. Everything else I have made understands the divine power of quiet, trustful being. I invite you to become a student of this silent wisdom, to let the mountains, the stars, and the trees teach you what your restless heart needs to learn. Go and stand before a great mountain. It does not shout its presence. It does not strive to be seen. It simply is. For thousands of years, it has stood in silent, unmovable majesty, bearing witness to sunrises and storms, seasons of snow and seasons of sun. Its quiet strength speaks of my faithfulness. Its silent endurance preaches a sermon about patience. It is a testament to the power of being rooted and grounded in a truth that does not change. Learn from the mountain. Let its stillness teach you how to stand firm in my promises, unswayed by the fleeting winds of circumstance. Now, think of a tiny seed that you hold in the palm of your hand. It holds within it the blueprint for a mighty tree, yet it does not struggle or strive. It rests in quiet patience, buried in the darkness of the soil, trusting in a process it cannot see. It waits for the right conditions, for the silent call of the sun and the rain, before it begins its slow, steady journey of growth. That seed understands the power of waiting in the quiet. It knows that its potential is not realized through frantic effort but through surrendered trust. Let the seed teach you how to rest in the dark places of your own life, trusting that I am at work, preparing you for the season when you will break forth into the light. At night, lift your eyes to the heavens. Gaze at the tranquil majesty of the stars. They do not race across the sky or compete for brilliance. For eons, they have moved in a silent, perfect, cosmic dance, held in their courses by my unseen hand. Their quiet, steady light has guided travelers and inspired poets. They declare my glory without making a single sound. Their silent procession speaks of order, of peace, of a trust so complete that it needs no announcement. Let the stars teach you how to move through your life with a quiet grace, trusting the path I have laid out for you, shining your unique light without comparing yourself to others. Remember my words to you about the lily of the field and the sparrow in the air. They do not toil or spin with anxiety, yet they are clothed in a splendor greater than any king and are fed by my loving provision. Their entire existence is a silent chorus of trust. They are living examples of a life free from the burden of worry. I am asking you to join the silent chorus. Learn from the trees that patiently stand through the harshest winter, knowing that spring will come. Learn from the deep rivers that flow with quiet power and the clouds that drift in surrender to the wind. All of my creation is in a state of rest, abiding in my will. Come, my child. Quiet your striving soul. Listen to the sermon of the stillness all around you, and learn to find your place in the great, silent symphony of trust. My child, listen carefully, for this is a truth that can be easily misunderstood. The profound peace you find in the stillness, the deep communion we share in the secret place of your heart, it is not meant only for you. This peace is not a treasure to be hoarded in a locked chest, admired in private but never shared. To do so would be to misunderstand its very purpose. The peace I give you is not the destination. It is the divine provision for your journey out into the world. It is the living water you draw from my well, not just to quench your own thirst, but to carry to a world that is dying of thirst. It is the sacred fuel you take into your soul, meant to be burned brightly in acts of love, mercy, and compassion. You do not come into the quiet to escape the world, but to be strengthened and equipped to engage the world in a new, more powerful way. I want you to contrast the actions born from a restless heart with the actions born from a stilled soul. When you act from a place of anxiety and striving, your actions are often clumsy. They are tainted with the need for approval, the fear of failure, or the desire to control. You help someone, but you are drained by it. You speak, but your words carry the sharp edge of your own stress. This kind of action, though it may look good on the outside, is born of the flesh, and it carries little of my power. But when you first enter the stillness and allow my peace to settle you, to fill you, your actions become an overflow of that peace. You move from the sanctuary of silence into the world of service, and you carry the fragrance of that holy place with you. Your words become gentle because they are drawn from a quiet well. Your touch becomes healing because it is guided by a calm spirit. Your presence itself becomes a ministry. This is my desire for you, to become a carrier of my calm, a minister of my peace in a world tearing itself apart with noise and chaos. Your greatest witness will not always be in your words, but in the quiet authority of your spirit. When you enter a room filled with conflict, your stillness can be the very thing that de-escalates the tension. When you sit with someone who is frantic with worry, your unshakable peace can be the anchor that keeps their soul from being swept away. You will find that you have more patience for the difficult person, more compassion for the broken, more wisdom for the confused, because you are no longer operating from your own limited and depleted resources. You are operating from the infinite wellspring of peace you have found in me. You not think of this as some grand, unattainable calling. It begins in the smallest of moments. It is the choice to respond with a gentle answer instead of a defensive retort. It is the ability to listen, truly listen, to another person's pain without immediately trying to fix it. It is the simple act of being fully present with your loved ones, giving them the gift of your undivided, peaceful attention. These are the actions born of stillness. They may seem small, but they are ripples of my kingdom, and their effect is eternal. So come, my child. Come into the quiet and drink deeply of my peace. Fill the vessel of your soul until it overflows. And then, have the courage to step back out your door and pour that peace out upon every life you touch. You are my vessel. Let your life be a testament to the truth that from the deepest stillness flows the most powerful love. My beloved, if you are to walk this path of stillness, you must understand that it will not happen by accident. The world you inhabit is engineered against the quiet. It is a relentless, 24-hour assault on your senses and your soul. Therefore, cultivating a quiet heart requires more than a simple wish. It requires a courageous and intentional choice. It requires discipline. You must see the pursuit of stillness not as a passive relaxation, but as an active spiritual discipline, as vital and as demanding as prayer, study, or fasting. You must be willing to fight for your peace, to build a fortress of quiet around your heart in the midst of a world dedicated to noise. This discipline begins with learning to say a holy no. Your time and your attention are precious, sacred gifts. Yet you give them away so freely to every notification, every email, every headline, every demand that screams for your focus. I am calling you to reclaim this territory. I am calling you to set firm boundaries. You must learn to say no to the incessant demands on your attention so that you can say yes to communion with me. You must have the courage to disappoint people's expectations of your constant availability. You must set boundaries with the technology that has become your master instead of your servant. Choose specific times in your day to be completely unplugged from the world, so that you can be fully plugged into me. This is not an act of deprivation. It is an act of profound liberation. You are freeing yourself from the slavery of distraction to enter the freedom of my presence. I want you to see this discipline in the same way you see fasting. When you fast from food, you are denying the body's cravings to heighten your spiritual awareness. When you fast from noise, you are denying the soul's craving for distraction to heighten your communion with me. Both are powerful. Both require a conscious act of the will. Both will be met with resistance from your own flesh. But both will yield a harvest of spiritual power and intimacy with your God. Every time you consciously choose to put down your phone and pick up my word, you are strengthening a spiritual muscle. Every time you choose to turn off the television and sit in the quiet, you are building your soul's endurance. Every time you let a notification go unanswered to remain present with me, you are winning a small but significant victory in this holy war for your heart's attention. Do not be discouraged if this feels difficult at first. You are retraining a mind and a soul that have been conditioned for chaos. Be patient and be persistent. Start small. Create one small pocket of sacred silence in your day and guard it fiercely. Perhaps it is the first 15 minutes of your morning before the world has a chance to invade. Perhaps it is a walk during your lunch break with no earbuds, no podcasts, just the sound of your own footsteps and the whisper of my spirit. I am not asking you to become a hermit, to retreat from the world entirely. I am asking you to live in the world, but to no longer be of the world's frantic, soul-killing pace. You are not a helpless victim of the noisy culture around you. You are a child of the Most High God, and you have the power to choose. Choose me. Choose peace. Choose the sacred, life-giving discipline of muting the world, so that you can finally hear the beautiful music I am making in your soul. My child, as I lead you further down this path of stillness, it is crucial that I clarify your destination. You are not on a journey toward nothingness. I am not calling you to seek an empty, sterile void. That is a hollow and humanistic meditation that leads only to a deeper awareness of your own solitude. The stillness I invite you into is the polar opposite of empty. It is the most substantive, most vibrant, most real state of being you can ever experience, because its very substance is me. The goal of our quiet time is not the absence of sound. It is the overwhelming presence of your God. You must stop seeking silence and start seeking me in the silence. I want you to begin to feel the very texture of the quiet. It is not thin and vacant. When you truly enter it, you will find that it is thick, warm, and heavy with my love for you. It is a tangible presence, an atmosphere you can breathe into your spirit. It is the air of heaven. When you close your eyes, feel the weight of my peace settling upon you like a heavy, protective blanket. This is not your imagination. This is the reality of my glory, a glory that is always present but is most easily perceived when all other distractions have faded away. You are not emptying your mind. You are opening your heart to be filled with the fullness of who I am. In the frantic rush of your days, you are pulled between the past and the future. Your mind is filled with regrets from yesterday and anxieties about tomorrow. But I am not the God of yesterday's regrets or tomorrow's fears. I am the great I am. My name itself declares that I dwell in the eternal now. The only place you can truly meet me is in the present moment. And what is stillness, my child, but the act of consciously choosing to inhabit the present moment? When you silence the inner voices that are screaming about the past and the future, you finally arrive in the now. And you will find that I have been here all along, waiting for you. The quiet moment is the sanctuary where the eternal God meets the present child. I will give you a metaphor to hold on to. See the stillness as a beautiful, ornate, and priceless golden cup. In itself, the cup is a wonderful thing. But its true purpose, its entire value, is found in what it is designed to hold. You would not cherish the cup if it were forever empty. My child, the silence is the cup. My presence is the living water it holds. Do not become so focused on the beauty of the cup that you forget to drink the water. Do not make the mistake of pursuing stillness for stillness' sake. Pursue me. Let the quiet be the vessel, but let me be the treasure you seek. When you enter the quiet, your prayer should not be, "Lord, help me be silent," but rather, "Lord, help me be aware of you." This changes everything. It transforms the act of listening. You are no longer straining to hear an audible sound or a divine instruction. You are simply learning to be aware of a presence, a companionship, a love that is more real than the chair you are sitting on. You are listening not for a sound, but for me. You are training the ear of your heart to recognize the constant, loving friendship that is the foundation of your very existence. So let go of the striving. Let go of the search for a mystical experience. Simply open the hand of your heart and receive the gift that is already there. I am here, in the quiet, in the now. I am the very substance of this silence. Come and be filled. My precious child, watch how you move through your days. I see you. I see your heart, so full of a genuine desire to serve me and to do good. But I also see how you run, how you rush, how you force things. I see you running ahead of me, starting projects in your own strength, making plans based on your own wisdom, and then, breathless and anxious, you ask me to come and bless your frantic activity. You treat your life with me as a race, constantly pushing, striving, and fearing that you will fall behind. This is the exhausting, forced rhythm of the world and of your own self-will. but my kingdom operates on an entirely different rhythm. I am calling you, in the stillness, to cease your running and to learn the unforced rhythms of grace. Grace has a cadence. It is not hurried. It is not anxious. It is not forced. My grace moves with a divine and deliberate patience, a calm and confident power. Think of the way I created the world. I did not rush it into existence in a single, chaotic burst. I took my time. Day by day, I lovingly and patiently unfolded my plan. Think of how I lead my people through the desert. I did not teleport them to the promised land. I led them one day at a time, with a cloud by day and a fire by night, teaching them to depend on me for their daily bread. My ways are not your ways, and my timing is not your timing. The frantic rush that you feel is not from me. It is the anxiety of a soul that has not yet learned to trust my leadership. And so, in the stillness, I give you a command that may feel shocking to your performance-driven heart. Cease your frantic spiritual activity. So much of what you call working for God is simply your own anxiety dressed up in religious language. You are trying to earn my love, to prove your worth, to build your own little kingdom instead of mine. Lay it all down. In the quiet, I am inviting you to stop seeing your life with me as a solo performance and to learn to see it as a divine dance. In a dance, one partner must lead, and the other must follow. If both partners try to lead, the result is a clumsy, jarring mess. For too long, you have been trying to lead. In the stillness, I am teaching you to be quiet enough, to be sensitive enough, to feel my gentle leading. I am teaching you the beautiful, liberating dance of trust. This is what it means to let me lead. It means you wait for my timing instead of forcing your own. It means you listen for my strategy instead of rushing ahead with your own plans. It means you learn to rest in the midst of uncertainty, trusting that I am guiding the steps. The stillness is your dance floor. It is the practice room where you quiet your own chaotic movements and you learn to sway to the gentle music of my spirit. You learn to feel the subtle pressure of my hand on your back, guiding you left or right. You learn that a pause is not a failure, but a part of the choreography. You learn to trust my strength to hold you, to lift you, to spin you in joy. This is a life of power and peace that you cannot imagine, but it requires you to surrender your need to be in control. I will tell you a secret of my kingdom. There is no rush here. The world's urgency is a lie constructed by the enemy to keep you in a state of breathless panic. But my plans are eternal. They are unfolding with perfect, patient precision. Nothing can thwart them. Nothing can make them late. Your part is to attune your steps to this gentle, divine cadence. Let the stillness teach you the unforced rhythms of grace. Let me lead. I promise you, it is the most exciting, most beautiful, and most peaceful dance you will ever know. You are learning the steps of our dance, the beautiful, unforced rhythm of grace that leads to peace. I am teaching you to move with me, to trust my leading. To abandon this lesson now, to rush back to your own frantic pace, would be to let go of my outstretched hand in the middle of our song. It saddens me to see you choose a life of anxious striving when I offer a life of effortless partnership. Do not leave me on the dance floor. The most beautiful part of the music is just beginning. My child, you must understand that your adversary, the enemy of your soul, has a primary strategy, and it is a strategy of noise. He thrives in chaos. He operates in the realm of confusion, accusation, anxiety, and frantic hurry. His voice is the one that screams you are not good enough, the one that creates division and strife, the one that keeps you so busy and distracted that you have no time to think, no time to connect with me. Turmoil is the environment where he does his most effective work. Now, I want to arm you with a powerful spiritual insight. Your intentional choice to become still and quiet is not a passive retreat from the battle. It is one of the most powerful and offensive acts of warfare you can wage against him. Every time you deliberately step out of the chaos and into the quiet of my presence, you are planting the flag of the kingdom of heaven in territory the enemy had claimed for himself. You are making a defiant declaration of allegiance. Your silence shouts, "I will not partner with your chaos. I will not listen to your accusations. I will not be ruled by your anxiety. I choose the peace of my God. I choose to trust His voice alone." This act of quiet rebellion disrupts the enemy's entire strategy. He is a creature of the dark, and your stillness allows my light to flood the battlefield, exposing his lies and causing his forces to scatter in confusion. Do not underestimate the power you wield when you simply choose to be still. I want you to see your calm and quiet spirit as an impenetrable fortress. When your heart is garrisoned by my peace, the fiery darts of the enemy cannot reach you. His arrows of accusation, his missiles of anxiety, his weapons of fear, they will all be extinguished against the mighty walls of a soul that is resting in its God. You will rage against this fortress, but he cannot breach it. You will shout his lies, but they will be muffled by the profound peace within. This is what I meant when I inspired my prophet to write, "In quietness and in trust is your strength." This is not the passive weakness the world imagines. It is your most powerful defensive posture. It is a strength that is rooted in me, and therefore, it is a strength he can never overcome. Think of the voice of the accuser. He is constantly whispering in your ear, trying to undermine your confidence in my love. He reminds you of your every failure. He magnifies your every flaw. He tells you that you have failed again, and that I am surely angry and disappointed with you. The temptation is to argue back, to defend yourself, to get drawn into his noisy courtroom of condemnation. But that is his trap. I am giving you a more powerful weapon. You silence the accuser not by shouting back at him, but by simply turning your attention away from his noise and resting in my unwavering, silent affirmation of you. When he screams you are a failure, you do not have to argue. You simply retreat into the fortress of our stillness, where you hear my gentle whisper, "You are my beloved child, and you are forgiven. You are righteous in my sight because of the work of my Son." My quiet truth is infinitely more powerful than his loudest lie. So I am commissioning you today as a warrior of peace. Your battle is real, but your weapons are not the world's weapons. Your primary weapon is not a sword, but your silence. Your battle cry is not a shout, but a quiet trust. In a world drowning in the enemy's noise, your calm is your greatest witness and your most effective weapon. Come, my warrior. Lay down your own anxious striving. Take up the mighty weapon of stillness, and let my peace win the victory in your heart and in your life. My child, I want to take you back again to the moment before all moments. Before I said, "Let there be light," there was not an empty nothingness, but a divine and pregnant quiet. The universe was not born from chaos, but from a state of perfect, peaceful, divine readiness. It was in that profound stillness that my creative spirit hovered over the waters, pregnant with the potential for galaxies, sunsets, and you. My power to create flows not from frantic energy, but from a place of absolute and holy calm. I am revealing this to you because the same creative spirit that brought forth the cosmos now dwells within you, and he yearns to create in and through you. But this divine creativity is conceived and nurtured only in the womb of silence. The world has taught you that creativity comes from struggle, from chaotic brainstorming, from the frantic pressure of a deadline. You believe you must force ideas into existence through sheer effort, but this often leads to creations that are shallow, temporary, and draining to your own soul. I am inviting you to a new and better way. I am inviting you to become a co-creator with me. The greatest solutions to your problems, the most brilliant ideas for your work, the most beautiful expressions of your unique gifts, these are not things you must wrestle into existence. They are seeds I wish to plant in the quiet soil of your heart. But I cannot plant them in a garden that is being churned by the hurricane of a restless mind. You must quiet your mind. You must enter the stillness. You must prepare the ground so you can receive the divine blueprints I have for you. Think of the greatest art, the most moving music, the most profound revelations that have shaped your world. Where did they come from? They were conceived in quiet contemplation. The prophet did not hear my voice in the middle of a noisy marketplace, but in the solitude of the desert. The scientist did not grasp the universal law during a frantic experiment, but in a moment of quiet reflection under an apple tree. The artist did not envision the masterpiece while rushing through a crowded street, but in the focused stillness of the studio. Your soul is a studio. Your heart is a desert place. Your mind is a garden. I am calling you to enter these quiet spaces within yourself, for it is there that I will whisper the secrets that will unlock your unique creative potential. This applies to every area of your life. Are you facing an impossible problem at work? Stop the frantic brainstorming and bring the problem into the stillness. Lay it before me and simply listen. The innovative solution you have been searching for will rise gently from the quiet. Are you struggling to connect with a loved one? Cease the anxious arguments and retreat into the silence. Ask me for the creative word of love, the new approach that will mend the bridge between your hearts. Are you feeling uninspired, purposeless, dry? Do not try to force a passion into being. Come, sit with me in the quiet. It is in that sacred space, that womb of silence, that I will plant a new dream, a new vision, a new purpose that will set your heart on fire. This is not about you getting ideas from me as though I were some distant consultant. This is about us creating together. In the stillness, our spirits intertwine. My infinite creativity flows into your unique personality, and together we birth something into the world that is both divinely inspired and uniquely you. Come, my child. Quiet your soul. Let us create something beautiful together. My beloved, as you commit to this discipline of stillness, you may experience a new kind of frustration. You might say, I am being quiet. I have muted the world, but I don't hear anything. The silence is just silent. This is because you are still listening with your physical ears, expecting to hear a booming voice or an audible whisper. But I am a spirit, and I speak most often in the language of the spirit. I am calling you to learn a new way of listening. I am calling you to train the ear of your heart. Your physical ears are designed to perceive the vibrations of sound in the air, but the ear of your heart is the faculty of your spirit, designed to perceive the gentle movements of my spirit within you. And it is a sense that is only sharpened in the stillness. The language of your heart is subtle, and you have been conditioned to ignore it in favor of the world's loud demands and your own logical reasoning. But I want to give you a new vocabulary today, so you can begin to recognize when I am speaking. Sometimes I speak as a gentle nudge. It is a quiet, persistent pull in a certain direction, a sense that you should make that phone call, where you should take that different route to work. It is not a loud command, but an inner inclination that you can easily ignore if you are not paying attention. At other times, I speak through a holy inclination. This is a sudden, unprompted desire to do something good, to pray for a specific person, to give generously to a need, to offer a word of encouragement to a stranger. That desire is my spirit moving through you. Often my voice is perceived as a profound sense of peace. When you are weighing a decision, and you bring it before me in the quiet, I will often answer not with a detailed plan, but by placing my supernatural peace upon one of the options. That peace is your confirmation. It is a green light from heaven, a deep knowing that transcends logic and says, "This is the way, walk in it." Conversely, I also speak through a check in your spirit. This is a feeling of unease, a subtle inner disturbance or resistance that serves as a holy warning. When you are considering a path and you feel this inner check, you must learn to pause. It is my loving hand holding you back from a potential misstep. This inner witness of peace or unease is one of the primary ways I guide my children. This deeper listening requires you to trust a knowing that goes beyond your intellect. The world tells you to rely on data, on pros and cons, on what makes logical sense. And I have given you a mind to be used for my glory. But my wisdom is infinitely higher than yours. Sometimes the path I lead you on will not make sense to your rational mind. This is where faith is required. You must learn to trust that quiet, inner resonance of peace more than you trust your own understanding. This is the language of the Holy Spirit, who I have placed within you as your constant companion and guide. He is not a foreign voice shouting from the outside. He is an inner witness, speaking in the quiet chambers of your own spirit. This is a language you can learn. It simply takes practice. Begin today. Pay attention to the subtle movements within your soul. When you feel that gentle nudge, test it. Act on it in a small way. When you feel that sense of peace, step out in faith. As you practice this deeper listening, you will find that my voice becomes clearer and more reliable than any other sound in your life. You will learn to walk by the Spirit, and you will never, ever walk alone. My child, this journey into stillness is deeply personal, a sacred path you walk alone with me into the inner sanctuary of your own heart. But I do not want you to believe that this is the only dimension of stillness. I created you for community. My Spirit was poured out not just on isolated individuals, but to form a body, a family, a fellowship of believers. And just as there is immense power in your solitary quiet, there is a unique and often untapped power in shared silence. I am calling you to rediscover the profound and unifying force that is released when my children gather together and are simply, intentionally, silent in my presence. Your gatherings are so often filled with words. You have sermons, songs, spoken prayers, and fellowship. These are all good and beautiful things. But you have forgotten the power of what happens when two or more are gathered in my name and are quiet together. When a group of believers intentionally mutes their own voices, their own agendas, and their own conversations, and instead focuses their collective heart on me, the power of my presence among them is magnified. The shared silence creates a single, large vessel, ready to be filled with my Spirit in a way that is different from your individual experiences. It is in this shared quiet that a unique and holy bond is forged between souls. When you sit in silence with your brothers and sisters, you are connecting on a level that bypasses personality, opinion, and all the superficial things that can so easily divide you. You are not relating based on your words, but based on your shared center, your common pursuit of me. A deep, spiritual unity is woven in the quiet. You begin to sense the presence of my Spirit not just within you, but among you. This shared stillness becomes a powerful act of corporate worship, a collective bowing of the knee before my mystery and my majesty. Words can sometimes attempt to explain and contain me, but shared silence is a communal acknowledgement that I am infinitely greater than all your songs and sermons combined. It is an act of corporate awe. I want you to see this shared silence as a way of building a spiritual wall of peace around your community. The enemy works to sow division, misunderstanding, and conflict within my body. He thrives on gossip, criticism, and strife. But when you, and your fellow believers regularly practice being still together before me, you are collectively building a spiritual fortress of peace and unity. You are creating an atmosphere where the enemy's seeds of discord cannot take root. You are declaring together that your allegiance is to me and to one another, above any disagreement or difference of opinion. This shared quiet will heal fractures in your fellowship before they even begin. It will deepen your love and compassion for one another as you learn to simply be with each other in my presence without the need to perform or impress. So I give you this gentle command. Let your gatherings include moments of profound, shared quiet. When you meet with your small group, do not be afraid to begin or end with 5 minutes of complete silence, with everyone simply turning their heart toward me. When you pray with your family, include a time where you hold hands and are simply still together. Even in your larger church services, create intentional spaces of quiet for reflection and listening. Do not fear the awkwardness. I promise you, if you persist, that awkwardness will transform into a holy reverence. You will discover a new depth of connection with each other and a new level of power in your midst. Come, my children, be still together and know that I am your God, present and powerful, right in the center of your shared silence. My child, I must confront the greatest and most persistent lie that keeps you from the quiet place. The lie that you do not have time. I hear this excuse whispered in your heart every morning. I would love to be still, Lord, but I am just too busy. My to-do list is a mile long. There is no time. This thought feels so true, so logical, so responsible. But I have come to tell you that it is a deception, a clever trap set by the enemy of your soul to keep you running on the exhausting hamster wheel of frantic, fruitless activity. Today, I want you to receive a divine and paradoxical truth that will set you free. Stillness does not take time, it makes time. The moments you give to me in the quiet are not an expense. They are the wisest and most profitable investment you will ever make. Let me show you how this heavenly economy works. You operate under the world system, which says that time is a linear, finite resource. You believe you have a set number of hours in a day, and if you give one away, it is gone forever. But in my kingdom, time is elastic, and it is subject to my blessing. When you rush into your day without first anchoring your soul in the stillness of my presence, you spend hours striving in your own strength. You make clumsy mistakes that need to be corrected. You waste precious energy on tasks that were not yours to do in the first place. You chase down dead ends because you did not pause to ask for my direction. Your frantic activity is like trying to chop down a forest with a dull axe. You are working so hard, but your effort is inefficient and exhausting. And now, see what happens when you give me the first moments of your day in the quiet. That time is like stopping to sharpen the axe. It may feel like a delay, a pause in your productivity, but a single moment of divine clarity received in my presence can save you hours of wasted labor. In the quiet, I will give you wisdom. I will show you the one crucial task that needs your attention, allowing you to let go of the 10 others that do not. I will reorient your priorities, lining them with my perfect will. I will give you a creative solution that will solve a problem in minutes that you would have wrestled with for days. You will emerge from the stillness and move through your day with a supernatural efficiency and grace. Your axe will be sharp. Every swing will be effective. This is my promise. Give me your moments of stillness, and I will bless and multiply all your other hours. The time you spend with me in the quiet is an investment that pays eternal dividends. It not only makes your earthly work more fruitful, but it sanctifies your entire schedule. It stretches the moments that truly matter. A 10-minute walk with your child can feel more rich and meaningful than an entire distracted afternoon. A quiet meal with your spouse can build more intimacy than a rushed and noisy weekend away. Stillness teaches you to be fully present, and when you are fully present, you experience the true depth and beauty of the life I have given you. You are redeeming the time, rescuing it from the shallowness of distraction, and consecrating it to what is eternal. So, I urge you, my child, to abandon the world's foolish and bankrupt economy of time. Do not believe the lie that you are too busy to be still. The truth is, you are far too busy not to be still. Make the investment. Give me the first fruits of your time, and watch in amazement as I give you back more than you could ever imagine. You have felt this divine exchange and have prayed, "Use me, Lord, to be a part of this mission." This is my answer. Just as you invest your moments to receive my blessed hours, your gift now becomes a seed of sanctified time planted in the life of someone trapped in the world's frantic rush. Every super thanks or membership is a river of my peace that carves out a moment of holy quiet for a soul who believes they have no time for me. I declared, "Give, and it will be given to you." And as you give, watch how I command time itself to serve you, bringing order to your chaos. This moment is an open heaven for your obedience. Your gift will echo in someone else's first quiet encounter with me. I will anoint your days with a peace that makes you more fruitful than you could ever be by striving. Partner with me now. Give through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link below, and let us redeem the time for a world in desperate need of my rest. I have just revealed to you the secret of redeeming your time, of turning your moments into miracles. My deepest desire is to bless every hour of your day and lift the crushing weight of your schedule. It would grieve my spirit to see you now choose to run back to the tyranny of the urgent, believing the enemy's lie that you are too busy for me. You are on the very brink of true freedom over your life. Do not abandon this precious gift. Continue to listen, for there are deeper secrets I must entrust to you. My precious one, I want you to think of your soul as the innermost room of your home. It is the place where you truly live, the space I designed for my holy presence to dwell. Now, think about any room in your physical house. If you neglect it, what happens? Day by day, it gathers the dust of daily life. Small bits of clutter accumulate on every surface, and if left untended for long enough, the room becomes a place of disorder and chaos, a space you no longer want to enter. My child, your soul is the same. Every single day, it gathers the spiritual dust of the world, a small irritation with a coworker, a lingering worry about your finances, a speck of envy toward a friend, a bit of pride in an accomplishment. On their own, they seem small and insignificant, but over time, they accumulate, creating a thick layer of clutter that dulls the beauty of your spirit and grieves my spirit within you. I am revealing this to you because I have given you a divine and simple tool for keeping this inner room clean. That tool is stillness. I want you to see your daily time of quiet not as a chore, but as the joyful act of spiritual housekeeping. It is the moment when you open the windows of your soul to let the fresh air of my spirit blow through. It is the time when you take the gentle broom of forgiveness and sweep out the dust of yesterday's resentments and hurts. It is when you take the soft cloth of trust and wipe away the smudges of anxiety that have collected on your heart. It is when you lovingly clear away the clutter of selfish ambition and worldly vanities, putting everything back in its proper order, with me at the very center. You must understand the purpose of this decluttering. It is not for the sake of being neat or to earn my approval. I love you completely, whether your room is messy or clean. The purpose of this cleaning is to create space. Your soul was designed to be filled with the furniture of heaven: holiness, joy, peace, patience, kindness, and love. But these beautiful things cannot find a place to rest in a room that is already filled to the ceiling with the clutter of the world. You wonder why you lack joy. It is because the space where joy is meant to sit is currently occupied by a pile of old worries. You wonder why you lack peace. It is because the floor where peace is meant to rest is covered in the debris of unforgiveness. When you enter the stillness and allow me to help you declutter your soul, you are creating the open, empty space for me to come and furnish your heart with the treasures of my kingdom. This is what it means to have a pure heart. A pure heart is not a perfect heart that has never sinned. A pure heart is a decluttered heart. It is a quiet heart, a simple heart, a heart that is not filled with the inner noise of 100 competing attachments. And this leads to the greatest promise of all, the one my son spoke on the mountainside. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Where does this seeing happen, my child? It happens in the quiet. It happens in the decluttered inner room. When the dust of distraction has been swept away, when the clutter of sin and self has been cleared out, your spiritual vision becomes sharp and clear. You begin to see me everywhere, in your circumstances, in the people around you, and most profoundly, in the quiet sanctuary of your own purified soul. Come, beloved, let us clean this sacred room together. Let me help you sweep it clean, so that your heart may be pure and your vision of me may be unobscured. My child, I must now speak to you about one of the most misunderstood and resisted postures of the soul, the act of waiting. To the world, waiting is a sign of powerlessness, a frustrating and empty pause in the forward march of progress. It is a void to be filled with impatience and anxiety. And you, my child, have learned to despise it. You feel that when I ask you to wait, I am withholding my blessing or ignoring your prayer. But I am here to completely transform your understanding. Waiting on me is not a passive, empty exercise. It is one of the most active and hope-filled postures you can assume. It is a vibrant stillness, an alert and expectant quiet, and it is the very ground in which the mighty oak of spiritual confidence grows. When I call you to wait, I am not calling you to an empty room, I am calling you to the watchtower. I want you to see yourself as a watchman on the city walls, eyes fixed on the eastern horizon, not wondering if the sun will rise, but knowing with absolute certainty that the dawn is coming. Your waiting is not a passive shrug of the shoulders. It is an active, hope-filled vigil. You are not idle. You are watching, listening, and preparing your heart for the victory I have already promised. This act of waiting can only be sustained in the quiet. The noise of the world will scream that the dawn is not coming, that you have been forgotten, that you must abandon your post and take matters into your own hands. But in the stillness, you hear my steady, reassuring whisper, "Hold on. I am faithful. My timing is perfect. I am on my way." It is in the crucible of this quiet waiting that you learn the deepest truth about my character, that my timing is always, without exception, an expression of my perfect love. You see a delay, but I see a divine preparation. Sometimes, I am waiting for circumstances to align perfectly, for doors to open that you cannot see. At other times, I am doing a deep and necessary work in you. I am using the season of waiting to strengthen your faith, to purify your motives, to increase your capacity to receive the very blessing you have asked for. If I gave you the answer to your prayer today, it might crush you. So I wait, in my love, until you are strong enough to carry its weight. To learn to see my weight not as a rejection, but as a protection is to take a giant leap into spiritual maturity. This perspective is found only when you are still enough to trust my heart, even when you cannot understand my hand. This is how deep confidence is built. Faith is a muscle. It is not strengthened when I give you everything the moment you ask for it. It is strengthened in the long, quiet seasons of waiting, when you must choose, day after day, to trust my unseen work over your present reality. Each time you choose to wait peacefully in the stillness, you are building a spiritual history with me. You will look back and remember that other season of waiting, and you will recall how I came through at the perfect moment, in a way far better than you could have imagined. That memory becomes the foundation for your confidence today. Your quiet waiting is a powerful testament to a watching world that is frantic and faithless. Your peace in the midst of uncertainty is a confusing and compelling witness. It testifies that you serve a God who is real, who is faithful, and who is worthy of your complete and patient trust. So do not despise the season of waiting. Embrace it as my sacred classroom. Enter the stillness, stand on the watchtower of your heart, and wait for me. I will not be late. My child, our time together in the quiet sanctuary is the most important part of your day, but the purpose of the time does not end when you open your eyes and re-engage with the world. The transition from the sacred quiet back into your daily life is a critical moment. It is not like flipping a switch from spiritual to secular. When you have truly been in my presence, you do not leave empty-handed. You carry a holy residue with you. You leave with what I call the afterglow of stillness, and learning to recognize, protect, and carry this afterglow will transform how you live all the other hours of your day. I want you to become a student of this holy afterglow. The next time you emerge from a period of deep, quiet communion with me, I want you to pause and simply notice. What do you feel? You will feel a lingering peace, a quiet calm in your spirit that stands in stark contrast to the world's frantic energy. It is like the warmth that stays on your skin after you have been sitting in the sun. You will notice a heightened awareness, a spiritual sensitivity to the beauty around you and the needs of others. Colors may seem brighter, sounds more clear. You will feel a gentler spirit within you, a slowness to anger, a greater capacity for patience. This is not just a good mood, my child. This is the very fragrance of my presence clinging to the fabric of your soul. It is the evidence that you have been with me. Once you learn to recognize this beautiful, holy state, I want to give you a specific and practical instruction. Let this afterglow influence your very first interaction after the silence. This is the moment the sacred is tested in the ordinary. Before you pick up your phone to check the urgent messages, before you rush into your next task, before you engage in a conversation, pause. Take a breath. Intentionally carry that lingering peace, that gentle spirit, into that first encounter. If you speak to your child, let your words be shaped by the calm you just experienced. If you answer an email, let your response be seasoned with the grace you just received. This is how you begin to weave the golden thread of our quiet time through the entire tapestry of your day. You are taking the peace of the sanctuary and consecrating your daily life with it. You must understand that this inner state is precious, and it is also delicate. You must learn to protect it. As you step back into the world, the harsh winds of stress, conflict, and negativity will immediately try to extinguish this sacred flame. You must become a guardian of your inner peace. This may mean choosing to walk away from a pointless argument. It may mean turning off the angry news broadcast. It may mean moving more slowly, speaking more softly, and consciously refusing to be pulled back into the old, reactive patterns of your flesh. Protecting the afterglow is an act of spiritual discipline. It is a declaration that your communion with me is more valuable to you than winning an argument or staying informed about every crisis. Most importantly, know that you are now a carrier of my peace. The afterglow you possess is not just for your own benefit. It is my gift to a world that is aching for a moment of calm. Your peaceful presence can be my answer to another person's frantic prayer. You will walk into a room, and people will feel your calm without knowing why. you will bring a spirit of rest to the anxious souls you meet. You have been in the throne room with the King, and you now carry the authority and the atmosphere of that kingdom with you. Do not take this lightly. It is a holy responsibility and a profound privilege. So cherish those quiet moments with me, and then go forth, my beloved, and let the beautiful afterglow of my presence be a light that illuminates a dark and weary world. My precious child, I have been teaching you to find me in the quiet place, in the safety of the sanctuary you build in your day. This is the foundation. But I am training you for more than just a peaceful life. I am training you for a victorious life. And so, the time will come when I will call you to practice this stillness not only in the peaceful chapel, but in the heart of the raging sea. It is one thing to be still when the sun is shining and the waters are calm. It is another thing entirely to find my stillness when the hurricane winds of crisis are howling around you, when the boat of your life is being tossed by the waves, and it feels as if you are about to be swallowed by the deep. This, my beloved, is the ultimate test of your trust. I want you to see with the eyes of your heart that moment on the Sea of Galilee. See my Son, your Savior, sleeping peacefully on a cushion in the stern of the boat while a furious storm descended. The disciples, seasoned fishermen, were terrified. They were in a state of complete panic, but he was in a state of perfect rest. His stillness was not dependent on his outward circumstances. It was sourced from a place of unshakable, internal communion with me, his Father. His calm was not an act of negligence. It was the ultimate demonstration of trust. I am calling you to learn this same secret. I am teaching you to cultivate a core of calm so deep and so rooted in me that it can remain undisturbed even when the storms of life are at their worst. This inner stillness is your anchor in the storm. When you lose a job, when you receive a frightening diagnosis, when a relationship falls apart, the world around you becomes a raging sea of fear and uncertainty. If your peace is dependent on your circumstances, you will be thrown overboard into the churning waters of despair. But if you have practiced finding me in the daily quiet, you will have built for your soul a heavy and sure anchor. In the midst of the crisis, you will be able to cast this anchor down, heap past the turbulent surface, into the profound and silent calm of my presence. While the waves crash over you, this anchor will hold you fast. It will keep your soul from being dashed against the rocks of bitterness and fear. The world will look at you and wonder how you are not sinking. They do not see the anchor. They do not see the strength you are drawing from a hidden, unshakable source. I need you to know this with every fiber of your being. You are never alone in the storm. I am in the boat with you. You may feel like the disciples, frantic and afraid, crying out, "Do you not care that we are perishing?" But I am there. And just as Jesus stood and spoke to the wind and the waves, I am constantly speaking to you. But often, my first command is not to the storm outside, but to the tempest inside your own heart. I am whispering, "Peace, be still." Your most important task in a crisis is not to figure everything out, but to quiet your own inner panic long enough to hear my voice of peace. Find the quiet center, that eye of the hurricane within your own spirit where I reside, and listen for me there. Your calm in the middle of the chaos will be your greatest witness. Anyone can be peaceful when life is easy, but when you exhibit a supernatural peace in the face of tragedy, when you show a quiet trust in the middle of uncertainty, you become a living sign and a wonder. People will be drawn to your calm. They will ask you for the source of your hope, and you will have the opportunity to tell them about the God who is your anchor, the Prince of Peace who sleeps in your boat, the one who has the power to speak to any storm, both inside and out, and command it to be still. So do not fear the storms to come. They are not meant to destroy you. but to reveal the power of the stillness I have placed within you. My child, look at the world around you and see how it worships complexity. It creates intricate systems, builds confusing philosophies, and demands that you manage 1,000 different roles and expectations just to feel like you belong. The world complicates everything. It tangles your soul in a web of striving and comparison, leaving you exhausted and perpetually feeling that you are not quite measuring up. My way is the opposite. My way is breathtakingly simple. I am calling you to walk a path of holy simplicity, and the gateway to that path is stillness. Stillness is the great untangler. It is the divine act of letting go of the crushing weight of complexity and coming back to the few, essential truths that truly matter. When you enter the quiet, the complicated narratives you have built about your life begin to dissolve. The noise of 1,000 voices telling you who you should be finally fades. In that holy silence, the desperate need to impress, to achieve, to perform, to prove your worth, all the heavy burdens you carry, begin to unravel and fall away. Why? Because in my presence, your worth is not a subject for debate. It is a settled and eternal fact. You do not have to earn it. You do not have to prove it. You simply have to receive it. In the stillness, all the complex labels the world has given you, and that you have given yourself, are stripped away. Your job title, your financial status, your successes, your failures, your roles as a parent, spouse, or friend, they all become secondary. In the quiet, you remember the single, most profound, and simplest truth of your entire existence. You remember who you truly are. You are simply my beloved child. That is your core identity. That is the truth upon which your entire life is built. Before you were anything else, you were this. And after everything else is gone, you will still be this. To rest in this simple identity is to find a freedom that the world can never offer. The anxiety that plagues you comes from the complexity, the fear of failing in your many roles, of not living up to the endless expectations. But profound and lasting joy comes from this beautiful simplicity. It is the uncomplicated joy of a small child who is not worried about their future or their performance, but who rests, completely secure, in the unconditional love of their parent. I am inviting you to let go of the complex and to embrace this quiet, simple truth. Your relationship with me is not complicated. You do not need to understand deep theology or master intricate spiritual disciplines to earn my affection. You only need to come to me with an open, honest, and trusting heart, like a child. You do not need a 5-year plan for your life to feel secure. You only need to trust me to lead you through today. Let the stillness be the place where you practice this. When your mind starts to spin with complicated worries, gently bring it back to the simple truth. I am a child of God, and He loves me. When you feel the pressure to perform and achieve, bring yourself back to the simple truth. My worth is not in what I do, but in who I am to Him. This is the path to the life your soul craves. It is a life that is less cluttered, less hurried, less anxious, and infinitely more joyful. Do not believe the world's lie that simple means shallow. No, the simplest truths are the most profound. The deepest ocean is a simple substance, water. The brightest star is a simple thing, light. The most powerful force in the universe is a simple reality, love. Come, my child. Step off the world's treadmill of complexity. Enter the stillness and embrace the simple, quiet, and profoundly beautiful truth of our relationship. My precious child, you have just touched the simple, joyful truth of who you are in me. This is the secret to all peace. My heart fills with a father's joy to see you rest here, as my beloved child. To leave now, to choose to pick up the heavy, complicated burdens of performance and self-justification once more, would be to watch my child willingly walk away from home and back into the storm. Do not break this beautiful, simple communion. There are deeper chambers in this house of peace I still wish to show you. Please, stay a little longer. My beloved, I want to speak to you now about the beautiful character I am forming within you. I have placed a desire in your heart for the fruit of my spirit, for a life filled with more love, more joy, more peace, more patience, more kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. You long for these things, and that longing is a gift from me. But I see how you try to produce this fruit. You try to force it into being through sheer, white-knuckled effort. You try to make yourself more patient. You strive to feel more joyful. You wrestle with yourself to be more loving. And you end up exhausted and frustrated, wondering why this holy fruit is so hard to grow. Today, I want to show you the secret of the harvest. This fruit cannot be forced. It is the natural and supernatural harvest of a life that has learned to abide in my still presence. I want you to hold this metaphor deep within your heart. Your soul is a garden, and the fruit of the Spirit is the crop I desire to grow there. Now, think of any gardener. They cannot force a plant to grow by yelling at it. They cannot make a tree bear fruit by pulling on its branches. A wise gardener knows that their job is not to produce the fruit, but to diligently cultivate the right conditions for the fruit to grow naturally. Their job is to tend the soil. My child, your work is not to strive to produce the fruit. Your work is to cultivate the soil of your soul. And the richest, most fertile soil for this divine harvest is the soil of silence. Every time you enter the stillness, you are cultivating this sacred ground. In the quiet, you are pulling up the weeds of anxiety that choke out joy. You are removing the rocks of unforgiveness that prevent the roots of love from going deep. You are watering the dry ground with the living water of my word. You are turning your leaves toward the sunlight of my presence, allowing my warmth to bring forth the buds of kindness and patience. Do you see? The fruit is not the result of your striving. It is the inevitable, natural result of a soul that is consistently and quietly abiding in me. Your frantic efforts to be more patient will always fail. But a soul that regularly rests in the stillness with me, the God of all patience, will find a supernatural patience beginning to grow in them without even trying. Therefore, I command you to change your focus. Stop staring at your branches, anxiously looking for fruit. Instead, turn your attention to your roots. Let your spiritual roots go down deep into the quiet, dark, fertile soil of my presence. A tree with shallow roots will be knocked over by the first storm and will bear little fruit. But a tree that has sent its roots deep, drawing its life and nourishment from a hidden, underground river, can withstand any drought or hurricane, and it will be laden with a beautiful harvest in its proper season. Stillness is the spiritual practice of deepening your roots. It is the unseen work that produces the visible fruit. And what is the purpose of this harvest? The fruit is not just for your own consumption. It is for a watching, hungry world. People are starving for real love, for genuine joy, for a peace that makes no sense. They will not be convinced by your arguments, but they will be drawn by your fruit. They will see the supernatural patience you have with a difficult child, the inexplicable peace you have in a crisis, the unconditional love you show to an enemy, and they will taste my goodness. They will see the fruit on your branches, and they will want to know the gardener. So come, my child. Cease your striving. Cease your anxious self-effort. Come and simply be with me in the quiet. Cultivate the soil of your soul, and I promise you, your life will bear a harvest so beautiful it will feed many. My child, I have told you that your worth is not measured by the world's standards, and neither is your legacy. The world urges you to build a legacy of noise, of great accomplishments, of public recognition, of accumulated wealth and power. It tells you to leave your mark, to make your voice heard above the crowd. And so you strive, hoping to build a monument of your life that will endure. But I must tell you a secret of my kingdom. The legacies that echo longest in the halls of eternity are not the loudest, but the quietest. For I have declared that a gentle and a quiet spirit is of great worth in my sight. It is a treasure of immeasurable value, and the legacy it leaves behind is more lasting than the greatest pyramids of stone. Think of the people whose lives have most deeply touched you. What do you remember? You may recall some of their words, some of their deeds. But what truly remains, what has settled into the soil of your soul, is the feeling you had in their presence. I tell you a profound truth. People will not always remember your clever arguments or your impressive achievements, but they will never, ever forget the peace they felt when they were with you. This is the legacy of a quiet spirit. It is an atmospheric legacy. It is the ability to carry the peace of my sanctuary into the ordinary rooms of the world. It is to be a walking benediction, a person whose very presence brings a calming balm to the anxious and the afraid. This is a legacy far greater than any fame or fortune. Your quiet strength, forged in the stillness with me, will become one of your most powerful forms of witness. It does not argue, debate, or coerce. It simply is. And its quiet resilience will inspire a holy curiosity in those around you. When you face a crisis with a calm that defies logic, when you respond to an insult with a grace that is supernatural, when you navigate the chaos of life from a center of unshakable peace, people will be drawn to you. They will look at your life, so different from their own experience of frantic worry, and they will ask the most important question of all: what is the source of your peace? And in that moment, your quiet life has opened a door for you to speak of me, the Prince of Peace, who is your source. You see, you will teach more by your calm demeanor than by your loud pronouncements. Your embodied peace is a sermon that the whole world is desperate to hear. So I am calling you to shift your ambition. Strive not to leave behind a legacy of noise, but to leave behind an echo of my peace. An echo is a sound that continues, that resonates long after the initial voice has fallen silent. When you are gone from this earth, let the memory of your calm presence continue to be a comfort in the lives you have touched. Let your children remember the feeling of safety they had in your peaceful home. Let your friends recall the sense that they could breathe more deeply when they were with you. Let this be your great ambition. Cultivate a gentle and quiet spirit. It is not a sign of weakness, but of the most profound strength. It is the evidence of a soul that has learned to stop striving in its own power and to rest completely in mine. This is the legacy that I see. It is the legacy that lasts forever. My beloved, everything I am teaching you about stillness, every invitation into the quiet, is not just a strategy for coping with your life on earth. It is something much more profound. It is a preparation for your life in eternity. Every time you intentionally step out of the world's noise and into the sacred quiet of my presence, you are experiencing a small, precious, and authentic foretaste of heaven. You are getting a sample of the reality that awaits you, a glimpse into your true and final home. Understanding this will change the way you view these quiet moments, transforming them from a discipline you must practice into a homecoming you get to experience. I want you to try and imagine the atmosphere of my eternal kingdom. What is its defining quality? It is one of perfect, unshakable peace. There's no hurry in heaven. There's no anxiety, no frantic striving, no clamor of competing voices. There is only the beautiful, unhurried rhythm of grace and the joyful, unbroken communion of perfect love. There is a deep and holy stillness that is not empty, but is filled with the vibrant life and light of my glory. This is the air you were created to breathe for all eternity. And when you enter the stillness here on earth, you are, for a few sacred moments, breathing the very air of heaven. You are acclimating your soul to its native environment. This is why I say you are rehearsing for eternity. Think of a grand symphony orchestra rehearsing for a magnificent performance. They practice the music over and over, not because the performance is in doubt, but so that when the great night comes, they can play their part beautifully and without error. Your time in stillness is your rehearsal. You are practicing the posture of heaven, which is one of restful adoration. You are learning the melody of my peace, so that when you finally step into the full symphony of my eternal presence, it will feel familiar and right. You are training your soul to live in a state of communion that will one day be your permanent reality. Let this incredible hope draw you deeper into the practice of silence. When you feel the resistance, when the world screams that you are wasting your time, I want you to remember what you are truly doing. You are not just managing your stress. You are preparing for your wedding day. You are the bride of Christ, and your time in the stillness is the intimate time of preparation, where you adorn your soul with the quiet and gentle spirit that I so deeply cherish. It is where you attune your heart to the voice of your bridegroom, growing in love and anticipation for the day when we will be united forever, with no veil and no distraction between us. To see your quiet time in this light is to see it as the most exciting and meaningful part of your day. The stillness you cultivate now is a bridge. It is a bridge that connects your temporary, noisy, and often painful earthly reality to the eternal, peaceful, and joyful reality of your heavenly home. Every time you choose to walk across that bridge, even for a few moments, you are strengthening your connection to what is ultimate and true. And each time you return to your daily tasks, you bring a little bit of the light and peace of heaven back with you. You become a conduit of eternity in a world trapped in time. So come, my beloved. Come and taste what is to come. Let the stillness on earth be your joyful preparation for the eternal rest that awaits you, a rest not of inactivity, but of perfect, peaceful, glorious communion with me. My child, we have journeyed far together on this path of stillness. I have shown you that it is a place of rest, of clarity, of strength, of healing, and even a foretaste of heaven. But now, I must lead you to its final destination, to its ultimate and most holy purpose. The final destination of stillness is not just to make you feel better, but to lead you to the place of complete and total surrender. It is in the deepest, most profound quiet, after all the other inner noises have faded, that you will finally come face to face with the most persistent voice of all, the voice of your own will, your own agenda, your own self. And it is here, in this ultimate quiet, that I invite you to make the final, most transformative offering of all. As you learn to abide in this deep quiet, something miraculous begins to happen. The frantic clamor of your own desires begins to fade. Your carefully crafted plans, your cherished ambitions, your desperate need to control your life and the lives of those around you, they all begin to lose their power. In the overwhelming light and peace of my presence, your own agenda is exposed for what it is: small, anxious, and short-sighted. It simply cannot survive in the atmosphere of perfect love. And as the voice of yourself will grows fainter and fainter, all that remains in your heart is a single, pure, and powerful desire. The prayer that my son prayed in the garden: not my will, but yours be done. To pray this prayer from the depths of your stilled soul is not an act of defeated resignation. It is the ultimate act of victorious faith. It is the moment when you finally stop fighting and resisting the loving current of my will for your life. It is the moment you trade your small, temporary plans for my grand, eternal purposes. This is the place of perfect alignment. Imagine a river that has been struggling and twisting, trying to carve its own path through the landscape. But then, it finally reaches the great ocean. It ceases its own striving and surrenders to the vast, powerful, and gentle rhythm of the tides. It does not lose its identity. It finds its ultimate purpose. So it is with your soul. When you surrender your will to mine in the quiet, you find a power and a peace you never knew in your years of struggle. There is no more resistance, only glorious freeing flow. This is where the most profound transformation occurs. In this place of total surrender, you do not just listen for my voice. You become an extension of it. You are no longer just a servant working for me. You become a pure vessel of me. My thoughts begin to flow through your mind. My love begins to beat in your heart. My compassion begins to move your hands and feet. You begin to see the world as I see it, to love people as I love them. You are no longer asking, what should I do for God? Instead, you are simply available, and you feel my spirit doing the work through you. To reach this place requires the quiet death of the self. The small, anxious, fearful, controlling self that has been running your life must be lovingly and peacefully laid to rest in the stillness. This is the cross you are called to carry daily. But do not fear this death, for it is the gateway to the most abundant life imaginable. It is in losing your small, frantic life that you find your true, eternal, Christ-filled life. This is the final and greatest secret of the stillness. It is the holy ground where you willingly surrender everything you are, so that I can fill you with everything I am. Come, my beloved. Come into the deepest quiet, and have the courage to make this final, beautiful surrender. And now, my child, after all our journeying, after all these words, I want to leave you with the simplest and most important truth of all. This profound stillness, this sacred sanctuary, this place of communion and surrender, it is not a distant peak you must struggle to climb. It is not a reward reserved for a few spiritual giants. It is your home. And it is always, in every moment, instantly and completely available to you. You do not have to travel to a special place to find it. You do not have to achieve a certain level of holiness to enter it. It is a present reality, a divine atmosphere that you can choose to enter at any moment, simply by turning the focus of your heart inward. I am perpetually waiting for you in the quiet sanctuary of your heart. I am not a visitor who comes and goes. I have taken up permanent residence there. The door to this inner room is never locked from my side. I am always there, always present, always loving you, always inviting you to come and be with me. The only thing that ever changes is your awareness. The only variable is where you choose to place your attention. The world, with its relentless noise, is constantly trying to pull your attention outward to keep you living on the frantic surface of your life. My spirit is constantly and gently trying to pull your attention inward, to invite you back home to the quiet center where I dwell. So I give you this simple, practical instruction, an act you can perform right now, wherever you are. Turn your focus inward. Take a slow, deep breath, and as you exhale, release the tension of the world. With your next breath, breathe in my peace. Find me there. I am closer to you than your own breath. I am the stillness beneath your racing thoughts. I am the silence that holds the symphony of your heartbeat. You do not need to create this stillness. You only need to become aware of it. It had been here all along, patiently waiting for you. Listen now. Even as you hear these final words, even with the sounds of the world around you, can you sense it? Beneath the surface of everything, can you feel that deep, unshakable quiet? That is not emptiness. That is not the absence of something. That is the presence of everything. That stillness you feel is the texture of my eternal love. It is my everlasting arms wrapping around you. It is my silent embrace, holding you, protecting you, loving you, now and for all eternity. Come home to this stillness whenever you feel lost or afraid. Rest in this embrace whenever you are weary. This is your birthright as my child. This quiet, this peace, this presence, this is me. And I am with you, always. You have rested in my silent embrace, and your heart has asked, how can I share this love, Lord? This is how I am answering you now. Your gift through a super thanks or membership is not a mere transaction. It is how you become the arms of my embrace for another soul who feels utterly alone and unloved. You are sending a beacon of my light into their darkness, carrying my voice into their desperate quiet so they too can feel my everlasting love. I declared, it is more blessed to give than to receive, and your obedience in this moment releases a profound blessing of my tangible presence back upon your own life. This is no random opportunity. It is a divine appointment for your faith to touch another's pain. As you give, I will pour out upon you a deeper awareness of my presence, a peace that surrounds your household like a mighty fortress. Now act on the love you have just received. Give through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, and become a partner in my eternal embrace. My child, my beloved, you have walked with me through the sacred halls of stillness. You have heard my heart's desire for you, to find rest, to find clarity, and to find me in the quiet sanctuary within. This journey does not end with these words. It is a beautiful beginning, an invitation that is new for you every single morning. The door to this peace is now open, and I will always be waiting for you on the other side. Now, I invite you to make a response, not with a loud shout that echoes in the world, but with a quiet and intentional declaration from your own heart. If these words have been a balm to your soul, if you have felt the gentle pull of my spirit calling you away from the noise and into my peaceful presence, I want you to affirm your choice. Let this act be an anchor for your soul and a beautiful encouragement to the thousands of other hearts who are listening alongside you, longing for this same rest. In the space provided for comments, let your heart speak. Declare your intention to seek me in the quiet of your own life. You can simply write, I will listen for your stillness. By doing this, you are not just typing words into a machine. You are planting a seed of powerful intention in the garden of your spirit. You are making a holy promise to your own soul. Your declaration will stand as a beautiful testimony, a small but shining light, reminding other weary travelers that they are not alone in their search for my peace. Let your response be your first intentional act of stepping out of the chaos and into the beauty of a quiet, consecrated life. I will see your declaration, and my heart will rejoice. Amen. If you believe in me, your Heavenly Father, then like this video and leave a heartfelt amen in the comments. If you want to stay closer to me, then subscribe to this channel.